is regarding the Islamic management approach to corporate social responsibility, sustainability, and
I
responsible
think
consumerism.
that's the big title, but for this
I
particular course, we'll zoom into specific content.
okay. Never mind, Doctor. Doctor, the floor is yours, inshallah. So, without further ado, inshallah, Doctor will share with us two sessions. But first session, Doctor, until 9 to 9:45.
Right.
Let's have 5 minutes for Q&A first.
All right.
Then we continue with another session, Doctor.
Okay,
Can,
good, good.
right?
Yes, inshallah.
Uh, okay. Without further ado, falyatafaddal ma'jurah, Doctor, for your class today.
Okay, thank you very
Falyatafaddal.
much. Thank you very much, Sister Juwaira. And thank you very much to my virtual audience, wherever you are coming from. So before we start our session, so let's begin with salawat and some remembrance to our relatives over there in Gaza. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali Sayyidina. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. All right, thank you very much. I can see I've been like joining the session since before 8:30, and I can see some early joiners. So good welcome to everybody. All right, so always be prepared. So let's pray that I can handle this back-to-back session today with the topic that I have prepared for you in accordance to Islamic management. But I'm going to focus quite into the context of where you can relate to the topics that we have discussed before, conducted by my colleagues, which at first is talk about the general ethics, and then we brought it into what our main objective is in terms of understanding in the context of Islam, Islamic business ethics. And now I'm going to help you to relate how we can apply this Islamic business ethics in promoting sustainability. This is actually something that normally we don't realize when we are to bring the element of Islam into the discussion of whatever conventional terms there are outside there. We don't realize that Islam has been like formulating the elements of whatever conventional perspective are talking about outside there. Islam has everything well formulated, well tabulated, well described in our holy book, Quran. And then Rasulullah put it into action through hadith. All right. But the problem is that we love to separate, all right, whatever Islam has to whatever the world is practicing. Right? To the extent we separate the religion to the life. And this is the problem that we are facing today. So inshallah, I will try my best to help every one of you to see that the moment we are born as a Muslim, we are well prepared with the ingredients, with the recipe, how to go about. And nowadays, the thing that we are, that in almost every aspect of businesses, we talk about sustainability. But what is sustainability? So we allow the Western perspective to describe sustainability. But without we realizing it, sustainability has been described properly in Quran, and Rasulullah have shown it. All right. And we allow the Western to drive us with so many knowledge. Is okay as long as it's not against Sharia law, Muslim can follow. Just that when you read the Quran and when you try to understand the hadith, you will see how perfect Islam is, right? And our first topic today is about how we can bring the element of Islamic business ethics in promoting sustainability. And especially when we are talking about sustainability, I can almost guarantee that every one of you are so well aware with SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, that being formulated by United Nations. All right. But to be frank, with whatever is happening in the real world today, especially with what is happening in Gaza and in some part of the world that not being reported on the mass media, I somehow find that there's a strong evidence saying that the conventional perspective, talking about sustainability, having so many loopholes. That's why we need to understand it from our own religion perspective so that we can apply it. We can apply it in the context that this is not just an obligation. This is part of our duty being a servant of Allah, that we are supposed to help the others as Khalifah. In a way, this is how we can see it open up an opportunity to all of us to perform our duty as Ibadur Rahman, right? So that we uphold the religion, and the religion is supposed to bring, the benefit to all, Rahmatan lil Alamin. And inshallah, in this 45-minute session, the first one that talk about the role of Islamic business ethics and promoting sustainability can be like seen in a clearer perspective so that it will not be a problem to all of us as an individual, as a Muslim, to promote sustainability from the right angle of Islamic perspective, right? So just to elaborate the first page, I've been consuming like almost 10 minutes. So let me move into the second slide. So these are the things that have been exposed to you earlier on in the contents that where they first brought to you the element of Islamic ethics by my colleagues, if I'm not mistaken, by Dr. Arfifa, that whatever it takes, we being Muslim, we need to always acknowledge, all right? We are being bonded by this kind of pledge. When we are born, we are just a servant of Allah. We need to acknowledge that there's only one and only one God, that is Allah, all right? And taking this pledge, saying that we are the servant of Allah, so you need to honor your duty. When you are born as a Muslim, you have this like simultaneous duty. You need to become the servant of Allah, the Abd, Ibadur Rahman. At the same time, you have this duty that you cannot run from. All right, the Western talk about leaders are born. Yes, in Islam, leaders are born. Why? All of us, the moment we are Muslim, we have this, sanal thinking. We have the right way of thinking. All right, we can read. That's why Rasulullah been forced to read, meaning that we have the ability to source knowledge. We have the ability to find answers. You need to perform the role as Khalifah. So the duty as Khalifah and Abd, they come together. You will be seen as a good Abd when you can do the leading role. You are seen as a good Khalifah when you can become an Abd as well. So if you reflect to this element of Tawheed, it will reflect your taqwa. Why? Because this is how you bring balance. Your duty as Khalifah, if we were to translate it into the normal term, it gives you the element of power. People who have power, normally they will be so like up there, right? So this element of Abd will pull, all right, your excitedness to become Khalifah to down to earth. So this is how we create balance. And this balance reflected in what we call as taqwa. You are a Khalifah, you have power, but the power being only within what allowable to you. So this is the first training ground as Muslim. We want to enjoy the freedom, but we acknowledge the freedom is somehow, all right, need to be within the confinement of Sharia law. Who creates the Sharia law? Of course, the one and only Allah. All right. So we need to honor. You are nobody, you're just a servant of Allah, but you have duty within the enclosure of freedom given to you. So this is the best part for us to, first of all, understand our own self. All right. So you can do whatever you want, but within what allowable to you as Abd only. So this will be reflected as your taqwa. So these are the first element that first of all, you need to like look into your own self. Your taqwa is at which level? But for your information, we will never be able to measure our own taqwa. All right? Only Allah knows that. But what we can do is only to balance the best between the role of Khalifah and Abd. So this is where we are talking about our own individual effort first. So of course, you need to know what is your function as Khalifah at the same time as Abd, all right, to continue your journey, to fulfill your duty as what you have promised at Luh Mahfuz. you proceed. But how you are to go about with your life, of course, you need to always refer to the right source that have so many guidelines. That is Quran and Hadith. So this is how we conduct our life as a Muslim, as a person. All right, don't talk about you and the society yet. Don't talk about you as a manager. Don't talk about you as the head of your family. Don't talk about your duty as leaders. You talk about your own self first. Because in Islam, we start from the reality that we are one single soul. All right. So from here, when you understand the context of Islamic worldview about this ethical system, and we try to explain it into the Islamic angle, having the incorporation of Tawheed, all right, Taqwa, from how you perform your duty as Khalifah and Abd, then you try to look into what is the law allowable to you. So to us, we talk about Sharia law, of course. The Sharia law is not man-made. It's from Allah. Where can you learn about the Sharia law? Of course, from the Quran. So this Sharia law is very straightforward. All right? What is haram is haram. What is halal is halal. But in life, we will need to relate to the reality of things. That's why we have this fiqh ruling. So to behave like a real Muslim is not enough just to acknowledge the Tawhidic element. You also need to bring into the aspect of maqasid of Sharia. You need to know what's the priority in life. Maqasid of Sharia, they divided into 5 categories. First of all, you need to protect the deen, whatever it takes. All right, whatever it takes, you need to maintain your Tawhid. And then secondly, thirdly, fourthly, and fifthly, then only you can interchange the priority into like protecting your family, protecting your wealth, protecting your intellect, protecting your lineage. All right. So these are the 5 priorities, but the 5 priorities will be interchanged according to the situational factor. All right, also being elaborated through maqasid of Sharia. These are the 3 situational factors. Either you are in the context of daruriyat. Daruriyat is only when your life being threatened, between life and death. All right. So whatever it takes, the protecting of the deen will always be the number 1. Only when you are in the situation of life and death, then only protecting the life, family will be the priority. So in Islam, right, I think majority of you have been exposed that to the situation of us to lead. You need to relate to the situational factors to the extent we describe the approach of management as situational leadership. But Islam has already talked about situational element from how the maqasid of Sharia being explained. All right, that situation described by daruriyat, between life and death, hajat and tahsiniyat. All right, so every one of us may not be in the same situation. So how are you going to describe the way you to apply Sharia law according to maqasid of Sharia? How are you going to describe what is the priority? So that's where Islam will give us this, the room to apply our duty as art, to follow the Sharia law 100% through the explanation of fiqh ruling. All right, the fiqh ruling will provide the methods. So I will not be talking about this in detail in this particular session because I am so sure you have learned about it from my previous colleagues, all right, in their lectures, all right? But this is actually the main point that, first of all, you need to bring into creating the understanding how we, all right, at individual level can also talk about sustainability. And when we put into the context of business, of society, how we can perform our duty in doing or in getting towards the agenda of sustainability. All right. So I hope at this point you have able to refresh back whatever you have learned in previous lecture that talk about who we are as a servant of Allah, Khalifah, this Tawhidic epistemology, the Tawhidic paradigm, Tawhidic understanding, and then how it relates to our life through the context of maqasid of Sharia as well as fiqh ruling. So I hope you can refresh it. So because we are going to interchangeably bring it into the context of discussion. All right. And in the context of, overall scope of what is ethics, right? Ethics is demanding you to do what is considered as fair and just. All right, whatever you are doing as your decision, the decision that you are going to, to go for, it must bring the element of balance in terms of fair and just. Justice and fair, this is a bit subjective. But in ethics, in Islamic perspective, the fair and just is about the maslahah umum, the benefit that's supposed to be enjoyed by the majority, not just to you. And with this understanding, when we bring the element of ethics into the discussion of sustainability, there will always be a situation of crisis. Why? To bring what is considered as fair and just, which supposed to be aimed to the general society first, then only to your interest, this is not easy, especially to business people. That's why sustainability, if you were to understand it from conventional perspective, you can see somehow the way they talk about sustainability is not consistent. If it's about their interest to maximize their profit, they probably will approach sustainability differently. But if it's about other benefits that's not their pocket, for instance, they will try to show sustainability a bit different from how they initially talk about it. Simply reflect to what is happening to the world today. All right. If it's concerned like Islamic country, look at what is happening to Gaza. All right. Sustainability in terms of number one SDG, all right, mentioned by UNESCO about zero hunger, they are violating it. Because why? The interest is not on their pocket. All right, Gaza is not considered what is their interest in terms of maximizing wealth. That's why they, if you see, it's so obvious in terms of imbalance. So where is the element of fair and just as how we understand ethics? All right. So this is actually how we are supposed to understand sustainability from our duty as a Muslim. It will bring value. It will be able to create consistencies from whoever you are doing whatever decision making. All right. Because why? Islam is for all. Islam being created to bring rahmatan lil alamin. Like when Rasulullah being born, he is supposed to bring rahmatan lil alamin. All right, greatness to the whole mankind, not just to the Arabs, not just to the Muslim, but to everybody, including the animal, including the trees. In other words, if you were to bring it into the term used by business people, this is what we call as triple bottom line. All right, to bring balance to the planet, that include the trees, the animals, all right, the earth in total, to bring benefits to the pocket. We're talking of profit, and to bring benefits to the people who probably are your stakeholders or your shareholders or your own employees. So these are the situation right now. All right. If we really understand Islam, inshallah, we will get to the main agenda of fair and just. But if you are not doing everything from the right Islamic approach, this is where you will see us as Muslim will become consumerists. We only consume the Sharia law that we thought beneficial to us. If it's not beneficial, we try to turn our eyes not seeing it. This is not right. Too much of consumering the Sharia law can cause us to become secular. This is where we need to be very careful in understanding what Islam is all about, and we scope the aspect of business ethics in this discussion. Because why? We thought the world must understand ethics to bring fair and just. But until today, we still see corruption. We still see unfair and injustice. So let's bring the right lens in. The lens from Islam that talk about how we can really bring in sustainability as supposed, all right, to fulfill our duty as Khalifah, at the same time, our duty as servant of Allah. All right. So this is a slide that I recap from Dr. Ridwan talking about how Islamic business principle in the economic ecosystem, all right, no doubt, concluded through his lecture, he mentioned that we are too emphasizing on people interest instead of Allah interest. This is where you will start to see the imbalance. All right, because of that, we tend to forget who we are. So how are we going to fulfill the need of Tawhidic requirement? So that's the reason why the moment we bring the element of Islamic business ethics in promoting crisis, you will see crisis. Crisis is where you will see it's as if it's very difficult, all right, to prove sustainability has been achieved. All right, that's why you will see definitely from all the United Nations actions to fulfill their SDG, Sustainable Development Goals, kind of, not that obvious. Why? Whenever you see the way sustainability being promoted from Islamic perspective, there's imbalance. This imbalance are the one that are going to create issues, crises. All right. So this is how we as Muslim will try to promote sustainability from the right understanding of Islam so that this crisis will not become the obstacle, the stopping factor for us to do the right thing. All right. So this is just like a reminder. If you can see the slide, the fingers is pointing to me. Right? Meaning that everything that we are doing, the fault is actually from us, not from others. All right? La ilaha illa anta subhanaka inni kuntu minaz zalimin. Stop finding faults on others. It's us. We need to correct our own self. This is the objective that I'm expecting you to take home from today's session, that it starts from us at an individual level. Because why? You don't have to wait for others, because we as Muslim, by default, we are born as Khalifah. At the same time, we are also a servant of Allah, meaning that you cannot run from not to doing the right thing. All right. So this is kind of common thing that I can be so sure that every one of you have been exposed to it when it comes to the sustainability discussion. All right. So what is sustainability? All right. The idea is whatever you are doing today, all right, whether you are going to use any kind of materials from the environment, all right, any materials from the nature, you must not overuse them. This is the expectation of sustainability, not to overuse them so that you can still leave a bit of those resources to the next generation in the future. This is the expectation of sustainability as mentioned through the Western lens to the conventional perspective. It's okay. All right. There's nothing wrong with this. We are not going to go against the definition of sustainability as coined by the West world, because there's no violation in terms of Sharia law there. All right. And according to the conventional perspective, these are the three categories that you will need to ensure the preservation are to be done. All right. The preservation within the environmental context, balance in terms of the economic as well as social context. So these are the idea of sustainability, to meet the current needs while preserving the environment for the future within these three areas: the environment, the economy, as well as the social. So if you were to translate it into the layman, environment is the planet. All right, the tree, the animals, the ground, the soil, the mountain, whatever you want to describe within the environment, the sea, all right, economic factor, anything to do with dollar and cents. That define your profit. As well as the social, meaning that between you and the other people, all right? The people can be your customers. The people can be your employees. The people can be the government. The people can be the society at large, all right? The villagers, for instance. So this social element, in general, we give them the term as stakeholders. So these are the three entities that you will need to ensure, all right, under the actions or activities of getting to sustainability, they will get the balance, the just treatment. Okay, so for business people, when you are excited to bring more profit into your pocket so that you can give more dividends to your shareholders, you must not jeopardize the environment. You must not jeopardize the society. This is the idea. of what sustainability criteria is. Meaning that there's they need to be like fair and just. Everybody must get fair chunks of what do you call that? Benefits. All right. So this is sustainability. All right. But unfortunately, all right, why is it sustainability is not doing the, what they are supposed to do today? We have been like discussing about sustainability, all right, if I'm not mistaken, way back since 2000, all right, the serious discussion since 2000. But things turn up the other way around, all right? The issue of global warming, the contamination, the pollution, air pollution, the hunger and so on. Where is it becoming so obvious today? All right. So this is just to show you the difference between traditionally how the economic activity take place. We call it as linear economy. Linear economy, whatever you produce, will be demanded by the customers, the business people will try to produce. So they produce and then be consumed by the customer. And then if the customer don't want to use it anymore, it becomes a waste. This is what we call as linear economy. So kind of traditional, in other words. And then come the idea of recycling economy. Try to like delay a bit, all right, the product to become a waste, all right? So we try to recycle the product. If you have heard, if you have plastics at home, plastic packaging, try to recycle it, all right? From like initially you just, finish your juice in a plastic bottle or in a glass bottle, and then you clean the bottle and then you reuse it, repurpose it for other, for other activity. But somehow some products, they have this like limited usage ability. So this is where at the end of the day, it will become a waste as well. All right, just like look at our clothing. All right, we can use our clothing for certain times, and after certain times, the material will be depleting, will become thinner, and then it will be easily stretched. It cannot be worn anymore, so you need to dump it. So this is actually what happens still, all right? There will be waste from recycling economy. And comes the idea of circular economy. Circular economy is where they are talking about repurposing. All right. But if you look into the differences, the stages from linear, recycling, and circular economy, what is actually the driving factor to allow the achievement of the circular economy is still human. If the human, the people, or the consumer are not able to, uphold the requirement, it will not be happening still. All right. So that's the reason why it's not enough just to go through the stages of, until we come to the circular economy. You need to understand from the get-go, whatever it takes when we are to, become consumer, or at the same time, you will become a producer. The idea is to reduce pollution. All right. In a way, it can be translated into you can reduce waste. All right. So this is what sustainability is supposed to be. When you're able to reduce waste, you will not be like making that much of error, using materials from the environment unnecessarily. So this is the right sustainability to begin with. It's about waste. You need to stop having waste. So just like once upon a time, we have the issue of buying fur. When you want to stop killing the animal for the fur, stop buying. When there's no buying, there will be no supply. The same goes as well. You need to become Muslim consumer. Muslim consumer, we're being taught from by the Quran saying that you cannot have waste. All right, during Ramadan, Muslim majority are committing waste. We consume more than what we can consume. So at the end of the day, the leftovers is going into the waste. So this is actually a good madrasah for us to reflect where we are in terms of bringing the right approach of sustainability in accordance to Islam. All right. So why this thing is not a successful thing? Because why? The blame is on us. That's why if you can go back to the slide that where the finger is pointing at us, the blame is on us. our consumption pattern is not considered as responsible consumption. All right, to the business people, when we demand, they will try to fulfill. So when they want to fulfill our overconsumption needs, they will overuse the raw materials. This is where it creates imbalance. So how on earth we are going to deliver the agenda of sustainability? So this is where it calls us to perform our duty as Khalifah and servant of Allah. Because whatever you are doing there, you are not supposed to do as you wish. You have the duties to avoid evil, to uplift the goodness. All right. What do you call that? Amal ma'ruf wa nahi munkar. If you understand it comes from your own self, there will not be, there will be no issue like what we are facing today. All right, like the global warming and so on. So in a way, when we do the right things, do the goodness, all right, prevent the evil, everybody will be happy. So in a way, it translates into a good relationship between you and others. So when you apply this way, all right, towards getting to the sustainability, inshallah, we will be in accordance what Quran and Hadith says. All right, this is where the translation of we doing good and prohibiting evil, all right, in your own self at first, then only you can do on others, all right? You will be bringing this element of hablu minan nas. At the same time, you are getting toward this hablu minallah, a good relationship to other beings. And at the same time, you get to what you are supposed to do as servant of Allah, a good relationship with Allah. So this is what, at the end of the day, if we put the sustainability into the context of profit, people, and planet, it must have the pattern of balance in the usage of the raw materials to meet the human needs. And these human needs is actually from us. We must control our own self to have this responsible consumption. Then only the agenda to meet current needs while preserving the environment for future generation can be achieved. All right. So the triple bottom line that I've shown you just now, the people, planet, and the profit is actually the criteria of sustainability. It is actually a process. You may not, you cannot focus on one at a time. It need to be like together. They come together. They are like three musketeers, one for all for one. So sustainability is actually to get to these people, planet, and profit, where we bring the element of fair and just. And if we were to relate specifically to each element of sustainability from the lens of Islamic ethics, it's very easy. All right. Why? Because why sustainability is so imperative, so critical for us to understand. It's part of our duty because look at the resources. Resources nowadays, some of the resources known as non-renewable, none are considered as renewable. Everybody is competing for these limited resources. Water, all right, if you really go into the statistic, all right, clean water for drinking consumption for the whole world, for every single people on earth is actually up to the, if I'm not mistaken, in like 5 tablespoons. That is actually, if you really understand, all right, what does it mean by clean water, all right? So the competition for resources is too stiff. People see resources as element for them to make money. So the capitalists, they have the money, they want to own the resources. So this create competition. Too much, the people who can supply the resources, of course, they will supply to those who can pay more. So this is where the need to understand sustainability is very important. All right, outside there, people so greedy to make money, they allow competition for resources to happen. And in a way, it translated into what we are facing today, climate change. All right, and because of that, the people who are too eager to make money, not able to bring balance to the planet and the people. All right, they are too much being driven by economic globalization. But no, nowadays we have this Trumpnomics, as if we cannot do anything with this tariffs war and everything. So this is the situation as well that force us to understand sustainability and of course connectivity from us to the rest. All right, so this is actually why you need to understand sustainability. conventional, they have been talking about environmental ethics to help them to get to this sustainability. But why is it the issues keep on happening? So that's the reason why we need to understand it from the right lens. Islam says that, all right, the conventional people, the West world, they talk about environmental ethics. But we talk about our duty as Khalifah and servant of Allah. We are just assigned to become a trustee to whatever resources being created by Allah for everybody consumption, not for specific people. If we understand that, we will not be like, we don't dare, all right, to make money for our own sake, all right, when it comes to these natural resources. So in a way, all right, if we bring ourselves back to into Islam, there's so many explanations why you must not challenge, all right, what being given to you. And then we know that if we understand Islam, Islam is a way of life, all right, as I mentioned just now, United Nations with the SDG, nothing violating Sharia law. That's why we support it, all right. But as a Muslim, to support the agenda of sustainability, it goes beyond just to do what the eyes sees. It goes into that we are just a servant of Allah. We do this duty because we are just the trustee. All right, Prophet has explained, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam has explained, do not waste, no extravagant spending. So why must you go against it? All right, and then according to another hadith, right, the world is so sweet and green. All right, if you don't understand what is green, what is sweet, you have problem. All right, so from this simple word, you don't have to go into like digging into the meaning of what is sweet and green. As people who are not, for instance, me as a non-Arabic speaker, from seeing this word sweet and green, I can feel the comfortness. So this is how it's supposed to help yourself. All right. Whenever you read the scriptures from the holy books, it need to be able to influence you from within. Then only if you understand it from the right context, you understand what is environmental sustainability. And how about economic sustainability? All right. The conventional perspective talks about economic sustainability must be from how you create shared value, meaning that if you create profit, others in the society must also enjoy it as well. All right, and then you being the capitalist, you need to have higher purpose. But why is it today we keep on seeing imbalance and injustice, especially among the rich? This is actually where they talk about creating shared value and conscious capitalism, but they are not able to fulfill it. So that's why you need to understand how Islam talk about this shared value and conscious capitalism. Islam talks about that, yes, we need to go for shared value, but the shared value is supposed to be where you are to increase stakeholders' wealth. What is stakeholders? It's not shareholders. It's the general society. And to become a conscious capitalism, Islam tells us to seek well-being by complying to maqasid of Sharia in improving everybody's well-being, not just the human, even the non-human. So from this, if we were to bring into what we have discussed so far, we as a Muslim at this individual role, you need to perform your duty as servant of Allah, but at the same time, you need to tell the others what is the right way of doing things. There you are performing your simultaneous duty as Khalifah to prevent munkar and to alleviate goodness, amal ma'ruf wa nahi munkar. So in a way, you help from your own role as a Muslim, you help to bring what is sustainability all about as supposed, not as per definition by the dictionary, not as per definition by United Nations, but as definition from the perspective of your relationship to Allah. You need to do the duty within what considered as relationship to the others. Hablu minan nas. Then only you are honoring your relationship to Allah. Hablu minallah. Through how? Ethical consumption. When you are to consume, You just consume what you need. Moderation. And of course, as Muslim, halal and tayyib products only. And then when it comes to economic agenda, wealth distribution has been like practice. In Islam, it's very clear we have this zakat, wakaf, and infaq, sadaqah. All right. And then you need to uphold the principle of conservation of the resources. Why? We are just the trustee. We are not the owner of any of those resources. Or in other words, nothing is owned by us. Everything is given by Allah to ease our life so that we can perform our duty as servant of Allah and Khalifah. Nothing belongs to us, even our body. And this is one problem, not just among the non-Muslim, even among us as well. We don't care to take whatever necessary because we have this thinking. This none of my concern because it's not happening in my country, not in my backyard. So this is the acronym given, NIMBY. All right, I don't care. So if we Muslim have this kind of thinking, this will create that crisis as I've shown you earlier on. All right. So if you forget, all right, if you have this thinking, NIMBY, none of my concern, none in my backyard, bring yourself back to this, how you are to see your element, your stance as Muslim in Islamic worldview. All right, the Tawheed, your duty as Abd and Khalifah will translate your taqwa. So of course you want to see Allah give you a good score for your taqwa, right? So that's nothing to do with this is none of my concern. And when it comes to social sustainability, Islam says that, all right, the religion itself is a social construct that involves human relationship. All right, even when we die, someone else need to carry our dead body to the grave and then bury us. So are you going to say that it got nothing to do with others? So this is where Islam tells us that the religion itself rides on social construct, meaning that you need to acknowledge, you need to honor the relationship with others. Hablu minallah, hablu minan nas. All right. And then Muslim personality actually being groomed gradually from individual role, all right, into societal role. So this is where, you will not be able to deny that you have duty to the others as well. So whenever you see whatever you are doing can jeopardize others, so you hold whatever you are doing because probably you are not doing the amal ma'ruf there. And help yourself to be guided with Arkanul Iman wa Arkanul Islam. Arkanul Islam, it talks about what you need to do, actions. Arkanul Iman, it talks about the ghaib that you need to believe. All right. So having this foundation that control the inner sense, reflect it to the element that people can see. So this will become a very good foundation of Muslim practices. All right. And putting it, the conventional element that they use the term triple bottom line to how we are supposed to uphold our duty as servant of Allah and Khalifah, you will see. All right, inshallah, as if by default they will be fair and just in the world. And it reflected back by your own self. Everything comes from your own consciousness. Our own consciousness actually comes from our friends, our community, our country's culture, our profession, all right, our companies that we are working with, the society that we in. And then the best part is that your friends, your family, and the law. But the number one is actually your religious belief. So we've been blessed with this Rahmatan lil Alamin religion. So I must you allow yourself to be, driven by something that is not perfect. All right, this religion belief is again has been it is a reiteration from the previous session. It talks about your duty as servant of Allah and Khalifah so that you can position the right relationship to others and to Allah. Hablu minan nas wa hablu min Allah. And then it need to be deliberated within the confinement of, this maqasid of Sharia and fake rulings. And this is just to a wake-up call why nowadays, if you use the Western perspective, we still have issues in upholding sustainability. Because why? Very few of us do what is right. All right. So this is again, all right, you need to bring into relation with the web of values, and still the number one comes from religion values. And with that, Islam promotes development. Islam prohibited something that can cause harm. All right, and this is the the what do you call that? The moving forward you can help yourself as. All right, being blessed with a religion that's supposed to bring benefit to all mankind. It's a way of life. Why must you allow yourself to follow the Western perspective? All right, so this is actually the flow. We have learned conventional ethics, what they say about the environment, what they say about everything. Now we understand better from Islamic ethics that talk about Tawhid, Maqasid, Sharia, and fake rulings. So do your duty as trustee. All right, so in a way, you can help yourself to get to this hablu minallah wa hablu minan nas, and this is where eventually there will be a no problem at all for you to get to this triple bottom line, circular economy, green economy, whatever term the West were giving it. But to you, it's about you to bring rahmatan lil alamin and victorious in this life and the next life in the hereafter, al-falah. With that, alhamdulillah, on time, I have concluded today's discussion on how we can bring the element of Islamic ethics toward getting to the agenda of sustainability. With that, Sadaqallahul Azim. Yes,
Thank you
moderator.
very much, Doctor. Alhamdulillah. So now we open for Q&A session, Doctor.
Yes,
So we
please.
have also, Doctor, in our chat box, Doctor, there is some question there.
Can you read? There's so many. Go. Okay, starting from the.
I think from only one question from brother
Okay, I see salam.
Jamilul.
Salam.
Jamilul is
Can you read?
IIUM student. For IIUM student, can they mention IIUM as their affiliation, or is
Okay.
only for the academic staff?
If I'm not mistaken, you can mention yourself as IIUM students. For instance, if you are doing PhD, you are PhD candidates of IIUM at your which kuliah, so you can mention it. Which one for what activity? So you need to be very your question need to be very clear here. Are you talking about publication? Are you talking about you being a PhD student? And you need to like the way you create affiliation to every university has their own way. Anything else? No audio? Ghazali Mukhtar, you cannot hear me? I thought the audio has been
You can
tested.
raise your hand if you have question. You can raise your hand so that I can unmute.
Alhamdulillah, Jazakallah for a very insightful. It's not from me. Basically, I learned from all the series, and then of course, uh, you know, hungry for more. All right, I try to, and I learned from like seniors like Prof. Suhaimi. He's the one in terms of Tahudic epistemology. There's a lot of things. When it comes to Islam, you will always find yourself not enough. All right, knowing what you are supposed to know. That's why you need to tell yourself, go for whatever you can go. When you teach, you are learning. When you are interacting with people around you, you are learning, because the way you are to understand things is from reflection. All right, this is how I create understanding about how to integrate Islam. And all right, okay. Anything else? Any question with regard to the topic?
If they don't have question, Doctor, maybe we can continue with the second session, Doctor.
Okay, last one. I see. Just come in, Rozilawati. When we
Okay.
mention about sustainability, what are the 3 tips that we can share this with our small children? Okay, this is facts of life. Don't use the word sustainability. This is the first thing that you need to tell yourself as parents. Don't use bombastic language. You need to know, when we want to do preaching, when we want to do dakwah, we need to accommodate to the level of the people that we want to do dakwah. So the word sustainability is quite a difficult word for children to understand. So just talk about when you go around, all right, you see like dumpsters, right? People dump their waste and then it's scattered. Talk about how the mismanagement of waste can cause rodent to come to that dumpsters. So create a situation that children can understand. That is actually the key. There's no like specific 3 tips or whatever, but you need to like align the way we are to give nasihat, advice, according to the level of readiness of the people who are you to give nasihat. So probably there's no one size fit all. Children, they are almost the same, but your children are unique. My children are unique. All right. So based on how you see their uniqueness, you tone down or you like create a scenario for them to understand. Am I answering you? I hope I answer. I talk too much. Our society is becoming more individualistic and selfish. How can we steer people for this path? All right. Yesterday, I came across with a video where someone talked harshly in a mosque during Mufti Menk session. This is where it comes from adab. All right. If you know what is adab, you will know that what is individualistic is and what is selfishness is. Right? Is that considered as a good adab? Look at Rasulullah. All right. How Rasulullah do the da'wah? It's not through how he talks only. It from his akhlaq and adab. Not much of, talking like the politician. All right. He shows his walk the talk first, meaning that he put it into daily life conduct. So if we want our society to become how they are supposed to become, all right, we first of all need to show from the right understanding of Rasulullah's way of leading us. But in certain situation, you need to look at the context of, again, just like how we are doing preaching, you need to look at the context of your society. All right. If your society is not well exposed to Islam, so you cannot simply go and talk about this, uh, uh, the need to be, in a community. But nowadays, even the West world, they started to realize that everything is not a one-man show. All right. So having their right up to approach the non-Muslim, probably it can be something useful. But in our context as Muslim, you just talk about our duty, the 3 concepts of Islam. Tawheed, it talks about simultaneous duty, Abd and Khalifah. For you to become Khalifah, you need to be with others. Yes, at the same time, you respect your individualism because you're also a servant of Allah. But to become a servant of Allah, you need to perform your duty as Khalifah. But and at the same time, to become a good Khalifah, you need to perform your duty as a servant of Allah. So in Islam, I think that's you need to know the balance of mixing things. All right, I hope I answering you. Anything else? I think it's 9:53. Miss Moderator, do you want to stop the session for a while or I just continue with the second part?
Doctor, there is one more question from Jamilul
Kamilu
Isha.
Isa,
Aisha.
what is the minimum years to plan for long-term goals in sustainability? Okay, talking about short-term and long-term. Before COVID-19, you may have specific timing when it comes to short-term and long-term. But after COVID-19, the strategists realized that there are no such specific time frame to describe long-term or short-term because of the inconsistencies. And then nowadays, we acknowledge the reality, the environment that we are living in, known as very volatile, uncertain, complex, ambiguous, all right, very dynamic. Yesterday, I wake up to a very nice weather. And according to the forecast, the nice weather will stay like for a week. But today in the morning, for instance, there's a hurricane. Auzubillahi min zalik. Right, just to show. All right. Because of what we have done wrong, once upon a time, the world now is facing global warming. So this short term, nowadays. Can be within 24 hours, can be within 1 day, can be within 1 week. So you don't know. You need to know the nature of what you are facing, the nature of your organization, the nature of your what do you call that, industry, or the urgency of the situation that you need to correct. So to answer what is short term and long term, they may not be a specific time frame. It depends to the urgency and depends to the consistencies and dynamism of the environment that you are dealing with there. All right. I hope I'm answering that. Okay. Anything else? Alhamdulillah, I think it will be sufficient, right, Jubaira?
Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. Doctor. So maybe, doctor, you can rest, but because we have continue, and then
Ah,
after, normally doctor we have a break after 10:30,
ah.
about 30 minutes, because we have two speakers. But now, because you are from the beginning, maybe you can take a rest for taking some drink
Okay.
first,
I give
something
myself and the
first.
rest of you 5 minutes break. Can we do that? So that
Okay,
we have
okay.
like
Can.
a more longer time for interaction of Q&A, because I think the topic that I am delivering is more of the something that you can implement, you can relate.
Okay,
Right?
okay,
So,
doctor. You can take 5 minute break. So maybe we come back at the 10 minute, maybe 10 minute break. So
and
about
so
10,
five
nine.
minutes.
Now already nine. About nine. So nine 5 minute.
All right, inshallah will do. Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Assalamualaikum, Dokter.
Yes, Waalaikumsalam.
MashaAllah. This 10-minute breaks just now already finished. So Alhamdulillah, welcome back, Doctor.
Ini
Now, can we continue, yeah, Doctor?
Yes,
Have you
yes.
drink already?
Alhamdulillah done. Plain water only.
Alhamdulillah.
Okay, are we ready?
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, inshallah. Now we continue with the second session. From now until 10:20, inshallah.
10:20.
10, now already 10. 10,
Okay.
20. So now 10, now 10, 10.
It's maybe for 45 minutes, I assume. Right? So I need to set the timer here.
Yes, Doctor, yes. Until 10, not 10:20, sorry, 10:30, 10:35 maybe. We'll add some minute extra, Doctor.
Okay.
So that for question and answer about 5 minutes,
Okay.
inshallah. With that, we continue with the second topic regarding integration sustainability in business strategy. فليتفضل مأجورة, Doctor.
Yeah, Alhamdulillah, thank you very much. Okay, I think that after that 10 minutes break, you can still remember what we have discussed so far before the break. It's about sustainability. But in the first part, we talk about how Islamic ethics can help us to promote sustainability. All right. And then after knowing what is sustainability, how can we formulate a good business strategy within the agenda of sustainability so that we are not going to violate our duty as trustee to all the resources given to us by Allah. All right. So let's go into what you are supposed to, what we are supposed to discuss today. We are going to be guided with these three aspects. How we can develop a strategy that aligns to the Islamic value so that it will be aligned to the sustainability agenda, and what are the steps of integrating CSR and sustainability together. All right, into talking about corporate governance and what are the tools available to measure sustainability in business. Okay, so from these three aspects, all right, we have the previous discussion has helped us to understand in terms of how we can align Islamic values towards to sustainability. All right, so let's do a bit of quick recap. All right, so what is sustainability? Now I think I'm so sure that you will not be finding yourself confused anymore. What is sustainability? To the Western world, to the conventional way of defining sustainability, they're expecting that we are to do social equity, economic sustainability, and environmental sustainability. Meaning that they need to be balanced between these three elements, and it is being called as what do you call that? Triple bottom line. All right, and they come up with a very nice definition. All right. Sustainability is where to meet the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generation to meet their own needs. So what needs is, as we have discussed in previous session, whatever you are consuming, it's coming from materials that being used from the environment. We call it as raw materials and so on. So if you are talking about your needs in terms of electric car for the battery, you need to use certain kind of materials coming from the earth. So when they want to produce batteries, they need to, due to the demand of electric car, they cannot overuse or extracting the minerals from the soil too much to the extent it will be running out before the future generation can get hold into it. So this is the way for you to understand further what does it mean by meeting the needs of the present without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs, right? Let it be. This definition got nothing wrong if we were to reflect it from Sharia law. So in Islam, anything that is not violating the Sharia law, we are okay with them. All right. But we have discussed in previous session, it is more than just to talk about to bring balance into the environment, economy, and people, social, in other words, when it comes to the sustainability definition. It's more of for us to get to the future generation needs, today we need to start to have lesser waste by becoming a responsible consumer. So this is where we come to, telling our own self for us to get to the sustainability agenda, understand your role as Khalifah and servant. All right, this is Tawhidic element, because where the moment you understand properly your role as servant of Allah and vicegerent or Khalifah, you will know. All right, you cannot run from both duty. It need to be done simultaneously, which it's about to do amal ma'ruf wa nahi munkar. So that nahi munkar is where you are to stop yourself from creating waste. This amal ma'ruf is where you are to tell yourself to become a responsible consumer, for instance. And when you do that in your own personal role, and then you guide the others as well, the right way of, approaching your daily life in terms of your consumption. So this is actually the beginning of how you are to get into the agenda of sustainability, right? And this is also a recap in a way. When you are able to perform in the right way, you can lead towards this hablu minan nas, all right, your good relationship with the rest, and hablu minallah. So this is how we complement our way of getting towards the agenda of sustainability. So this is how, this is what United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. They talk about these 17 areas, starting from no poverty and so on. You can read, you can see in the slide here. But since we are nowadays being blessed with information, every single thing that they mention in this SDGs seems not achievable in a way we understand it, in a way that they are supposed to do it. There's no fairness, there's no balance. Why is it SDG cannot be fulfilled in countries like Palestine when it comes to quality education, no poverty, zero hunger? Why that big why? All right, will will be helped if you understand Islamic values of sustainability, which we have discussed in previous session. All right, so and I talk about how further we can enhance the Islamic the sustainability agenda from Islamic value when we understand that Islam talk about institutional method in terms of stakeholder. It's not just shareholder wealth. Stakeholder meaning that the people, everybody. And then we bring into the element of well-being approach that must be aligned to maqasid Sharia for the sake of improving people's well-being. So this is where obviously it's not just about the pockets of the business people. It's about what you are supposed to do for the whole mankind. This is if you replicate the right interpretation when it comes to Islam as a way of life, you will see to get into this institutional need and well-being, you must tell yourself for ethical consumption, when it comes to wealth, where Islam has guided us with this, equitable wealth distribution. And then we are being told to conserve the resources because we are just trusty to all the resource, to all the materials being given to us by Allah. So this will help you to, highlight that Islam has our own way of getting into this sustainability. If you follow Islamic value, inshallah, that sustainability will be as what they define. It will not just be for like this country or that country. When it comes to another country, they ignore the sustainability. All right. Okay, so putting everything, all right, to bring out our consciousness is come from inside, all right, that our duty as the men will be definitely going to be represented through our aqidah, through our ibadah and our akhlaq. All right, this is how we tell ourselves we are just a servant of Allah. But at the same time, your duty to the others as well. Your life is not just to be about your own self. All right, you need to help the others as well to move according to the right path. So your duty as Khalifah will help you to implement or to fulfill the need of managing and administering the world, because you're talking about you and others. It's not just about you and you. All right. So this is how we will be able to conduct whatever necessary, all right, within the triple bottom line as defined by the Western world. We will have no problem at all to talk about the people's need. We will have no problem at all to talk about the planet's need. We have no problem at all to talk about the profitable need. Because why? The money in it to be equitably distributed through zakat, through a wakaf, through sadaqah, balanced and just. And then when it comes to the people, we know that we are not superior over the others. All right, the only thing that can make you to become superior over the others is your level of taqwa, which you don't know. Only Allah knows. This is the best part, that it will always tone down, all right, your overconfident self, all right, because you don't know whether you are good enough or not in the eyes of Allah. You'll try, you still need to strive to become a good servant of Allah. And to the nature, all right, you will be able to uphold your greediness, not to uphold, to level down your greediness, all right, in utilizing the raw materials, because you now know that all the materials are not yours only. All right, you're just as trusty. You can only use what needed with moderation. This is what we call as fitrah and sunnatullah, as what being explained through all the hadith and everything. So this, in a way, create what we call as basic entities of Tawhidic understanding that will guide every one of us to go for sustainability. So don't you see, we have now successfully able to align Islamic values to sustainability, all right, through how I conclude the previous lecture, that the role of Islam in promoting sustainability. Yes, we acknowledge the good side of conventional ethics, but we have a clearer perspective from Islamic ethics, because we combine Tawhid, Maqasid of Sharia and faith rulings. So meaning that no one will be like left behind, no one will get more, fair and balanced as how they describe ethics according to the right way. And this will get you to achieve triple bottom line, circular economy, green economy. And automatically, this is what we call as sustainability. But to Muslim, we go beyond what the world understands sustainability. We go into the element of al-falah, not just in the world, but in the next life. We have other agenda. All right. So this is how I conclude in terms of aligning Islamic values towards sustainability, but how to integrate it into business strategy. All right. So this is where I used the previous lecture from, if I'm not mistaken, Prof. Suhaimi, talking about how it begins from a company. All right. They talk about social responsibility. We call it as CSR, corporate social responsibility. All right. This is actually the trend. It starts from companies, eventually, they just do what they call as social responsibility because there's a law. There's a requirement from rules, regulations, and that you need to do this, you need to do that. All right, just to observe the law. We call this company as a socially obligated organization. They just follow what is right because there's a law. They don't want to break the law. That's all. What if there's no law? Do you think they can observe what is considered as right, fair, and just? This is what happening to the world today. Too much of driven by not consciousness, but only because there's law. But unfortunately, in reality, if you observe, even there's law, companies do dumping their waste into the river. All right, dumping the waste without being treated. Sexual harassment, even that's law. So this is where it calls as classical view. It is not that, comprehensive to understand how company behave becoming a socially responsible organization just by having law. So that's why it is called as classical view. The best nowadays that companies, all right, or organization, for them to uphold what is considered as doing the right things to bring out what is considered as fair and just in the context of socio-economic view. Socioeconomic view, they talk about they are responding to the social needs, all right, by becoming social responsive organization. Because why? The society want it to be in a good way, so they do it. For instance, look at the packaging of food today. Many of the food packaging, they use in a biodegradable food packaging. Why? Because the customers demand for that. The customers are so concerned with the issue of global warming, waste. All right, so they don't want to have their packaging, all right, being put into a waste that cannot be recycled by the cannot be biodegradable. So the demand for biodegradable packaging is actually not out of the consciousness of the company, but because of the customers demanding it. So this is called as social responsive company, all right, where they engage in social actions because it is a social need, it's a trend. If they don't do it, they will be seen as the black sheep in the industry. They don't want to be seen as a black sheep, all right? And then another level is called as social responsibility, which an organization, they go not because of the law, not because of the demand of the customer, for instance, but they just know that this is the right thing to do. All right, for instance, in Malaysia, we have government-linked corporation like Petronas, right? Petronas, they have been contributing to the society by giving like scholarships, they fund education, they built what do you call that, schools in the rural area for the sake of to allow the generation to be well educated, so that this generation will become the future generation to lead them. So they see that this is just the right thing to do. It's not because it's being demanded by the law. It's not because it's being demanded by the customer, but because this is just the right thing to do. So this is what we call as a socially responsible organization that falls also under the category of socio-economic. So having this social responsiveness and social responsibility, so you start to see the element of connecting to the general society need or socially driven needs. All right. So this is how, first of all, before we can discuss about how to integrate sustainability into business strategy, you need to first of all understand this level of corporate social responsibility. All right. So not many organizations at the level of social responsibility. Majority falls under the social responsiveness or social obligation. Right. That's why a socially responsible organization, they are more attractive to the shareholder. That's why they can grow faster compared to the socially obligated or socially responsive organization. Because why? A socially responsible organization, it able to attract investor because majority of the investor, they want to make sure the money being put into the right place. All right. So this is actually why organization need to understand how the impacts of sustainability can be influencing the way they come up with business strategy from the basic way of understanding social responsibility first. So for an organization, before they can get themselves towards fulfilling the prophecy of triple bottom line, they need to first of all becoming a socially responsible organization. Because why? A socially responsible organization, normally they go beyond the law, right? They do it not because of the law, but because of this is just the right thing. It can bring fair and just into what they call it as socio-economic needs. So this is why we talk about, or we recap the topic that you have discussed in previous session under Prof. Suhaimi about corporate social responsibility. And in moving forward, the moment you are at this category of socio-economic, all right, you can assume that your organization is actually moving toward this, what we call as sustainability. Why? Having the characteristic of social responsiveness, you do the right thing because you want to be seen that you are in a good company, you want to be in the trend, and social responsibility, all right, will help you to get to this social equity. And as I mentioned about social responsiveness, social responsibility, investors love companies that do that are at the level of social responsibility, or majority call it as the philanthropies. All right. So when the investor, for instance, found it attractive, they will put more money. So this is where it gives them the capital strength to increase their profit making. So in a way, how the socio-economic view can help lead an organization toward economic sustainability. And of course, the word social, where you are observing the need of the social society, will help you to bring balance to the economic. So this is to the environment. This is how socio-economic view can, if you are able to bring your organization at this stage, all right, having socio-economic view, either being just a social responsive or social responsible organization, you can assume you are not just there to make money. You have bigger agenda, and that bigger agenda is about to improve society welfare. All right, and this is how, all right, when we talk about integrating it into our strategy, business strategy, all right, and I think majority of you, when it comes to business strategy, what may appear in your mind is your competitive edge, how you can bring performance to your organization to compete with the competitors, so that your profit will be good. All right, you can manage your profit and loss, you can manage your customer trust, you can manage your investor confidence, all right, you can manage unnecessary attention from the government. It starts from how you do the strategic activity. We call it a strategic planning. From your vision, all right? If you want to integrate sustainability with Islamic value, it starts from your vision. What you want to be in a bigger picture. You need to incorporate the element of Islamic value of sustainability. You don't have to say it. We are to become an Islamic sustainable organization, the number one place. You don't have to mention it. All right? You just make it like, or you want to become the number one player that to produce a contribution for society well-being. It will be sufficient to show that at the end of the day, your mission can be an action to talk about activities to get towards this is sustainability within Islamic values. So it starts from your vision, your bigger picture, and then you translate that bigger picture. All right, if you know, let me bring you into a simple analogy. All right, you want to draw a big picture on your canvas. You want to paint. Of course, before that, you will need to like sketch what you want to put into that big canvas, right? So that it can produce a big picture. So every single thing there, you will need to tell yourself what you need to do. All right, you want to add trees, you want to add houses, you want to show birds flying. So every single thing is what we call as mission. So the action items described as your mission need to be in tandem with Islamic values and sustainability. Meaning that every actions that you are doing there, all right, you need to incorporate those elements. You may not have to describe it being Islamic or being sustainable, but what you are doing to get to what we call it as fair and just, within the role of you being a servant of Allah and Khalifah, so that you can create betterment to the society, all right, so that whatever you are to produce will not be jeopardizing the future generation. That will be what you can describe as Islamic value and sustainability. All right, you don't have to use Islamic term. Not that I am undermining the Islamic term, but we want to make the religion for everybody. Islam is for all. So if we make it to become so like, using some, just now I talk about victory, al-falah, right? I can use that term because I know every one of you understand what is al-falah. But if you are talking about the general society who may not be Muslim as well, you need to use the term that will not be scaring them away. Islam is for all. So your vision, your mission must be in alignment to Islamic value. Islamic value is big. So don't limit it to just specific term. And then you need to relate to the environment, to the reality. If you are talking about living in a country that is having an issue of Islamophobia, all right, they will always reject anything to do with Islam. So you need to be, you need to make your vision and mission to be, able to camouflage themselves within this kind of environment. Here, your objective is to do the right things. So don't make them to be against you. So that's why you need to relate to the environment. And nowadays, we are talking about globalization. So in your organization, you may have people not just from your country. You may have people from all over the world. All right. So you need to allow yourself to apply this geocentric perspective, global perspective. All right. Not everyone being blessed, right? Born as a Muslim, guided as a Muslim. Even we being challenged, a Muslim, they don't know what is Islam. So you need to make everything to be relevant. Remember, I mentioned in previous session, when we want to do da'wah, when we want to give advice, you need to level it down, or you need to make it relatable to the people who you are to give, what do you call that, da'wah. Just like Rasulullah, look at how he did the preaching and everything. Sometimes you don't have to say things, you do it through your adab and akhlaq. So this is why it is very critical for a Muslim organization to do environmental scanning. Environmental analysis will help you to know who's your competitors, who's the company that you can turn them to become your complementers. So this is a term in business strategy. Not every competitors will become your enemy. Some of the competitors, you can bring them to become your complementer. Like for instance, in Malaysia, all right, we have few telecommunication company. And these few, all right, in cellular line, there are only three major, for instance. Three major cellular telecommunication service provider that have their own facilities to offer services. It's Maxis, it's Celcom, it's Digi. Three of these companies known as competitor to one another. All right. But if they behave to compete with one another, it will eat a lot of the resources of each of those companies. So what happened is that with the technological trend comes this 5G. To lay down the 5G infrastructure is very expensive. And in Malaysia, the laying down of this telecommunication network has been like regulated by the government. So if they were to ensure their service to be up and running to the new technology of 5G, they need to have a very strong capital. All right, because the previous spectrum may not be able to support 5G. So it's like another one of capital expenditure. So what happened is that Celcom and Digi, once upon a time used to be competitors, now they become complementers. They join the fight together as one through merging and acquisition. So this is what you will get if you do a proper environmental analysis. You know how to leverage on each other. You know your weaknesses, you know your strength, you know the opportunity, you know the threat. So you leverage on this to design a good goal, a good strategy in a way. All right. So this is how we develop a strategy that must be in alignment to Islamic values of sustainability. It starts from your vision, and then you need to relate it to the reality. Do the right environmental scanning so that you know your ability. All right. Do you have the ability or not to go for it? If you don't have, sometimes you need to find partners. This is what I call as complementers. All right. And then you deduce a good goal, a good strategy. And then the challenge is you can do whatever strategy that you can do as you wish, but they are still on paper because this is the stage where we're talking about just doing a planning. The greatest challenge will be coming from how to execute. All right. So this is where to implement a strategy, you will need to have the right process, the right budget, the right team to begin with. All right. So talking about Islamic values, you will need to write on shura, a group of people who can increase your strength, that we call it as teamwork. But for you to make sure people can work with you, you as a leader, you want to bring Islamic value of sustainability. It will not be happening just by giving instruction from top to bottom. You need to allow yourself to listen from bottom to top. The listening part is a skill in Shura. It can only be done when the team trusts you. So trust is something that you need to work for. You are not, trust is not something being given. You need to earn it. So how you can earn it? First of all, don't break the trust of your people. All right. So when the people trust you, they will put their loyalty to whatever agenda that you want to achieve. But first of all, you need to understand the context of Shura. What is Shura? We experience from Sirah how Rasulullah showed us the right way of doing Shura. For instance, in the war of Khandaq, in the war of Badr, very clear way of communication. Never shut your ears to listen. Never shut your heart to feel, to have empathy. So this is the combination. It may not be able to be learned, but you can develop the skill by understanding the qualities of ulul albab. What is ulul albab? When they see, they reflect, Ya Allah. When they look, they feel, Ya Allah. This is ulul albab. You bring yourself back to Allah. This is in a way, it bring us to this connection of hablu minallah, you are a servant of Allah. And Ya Allah again, hablu minannas, your relationship to the others. In a way, this is how we perform the duty of servant and Khalifah. Shura is actually the tool. If you know how to go for Shura, we will be able to get to the victory. Like what is happening today, the negotiation between Qatar, US, the Israel, and the Hamas, the Shura is not there yet. Why? The openness of the countries that against peace and harmony is not there, absent. That's why it's an ever-going journey. So you need to have a program, a set of program. Plan A, Plan B, Plan C, budget, yes. That's why Muslim being encouraged to become rich. Because from the wealth, we can give zakat, we can give wakaf, that in a way, it can develop capital strength. No capital strength, it will be a bit difficult for the organization to go for this Islamic agenda. All right. And then when you execute with the right team, with the right program, with the right procedure, don't wait until it's too late. And as I mentioned in previous session, after COVID-19, the definition of short-term and long-term being revised. All right. Depending to the environment. We are living in this VUCA environment. Depending to the environment, you can no longer assume short-term is like 1 year, 3 years, a long term is 5 years. No, it doesn't work in that way anymore. Depending to the environment, that's why we need to run environmental scanning. So you execute, and then you need to monitor whether the strategy that you have executed is in accordance to your expectation. So that's why monitoring must be conducted like very frequent. All right, like in my experience of working during the time where I work in a project, the monitoring must be done where every single actions and decision must be communicated and minuted. Everyone must be on the same page. You cannot assume people knows what is going on. Some people, the way they see things is different because Allah blessed us to become unique, even though we may have the same hair color, the same skin color, but we are so unique to one another. So that's why we need to present it in a proper data presentation. We call it in practice as minute of meetings. This is the way you present your data. And then you do the measuring. All right, whether it's within what you have planned or not. So if it's not up to what you expect to get, so you need to do correction, change, and development. So this is actually how we can develop a strategy that aligns to Islamic value. And the best part is that in Islam, for us to do the measurement, all right, for us to do the measuring so that we can do corrective actions, it's very clear. You just follow maqasid of Sharia and fiqh rulings. Anything that is go against maqasid of Sharia and fiqh rulings, meaning that you need to change, all right? Make it to be in alignment to the Islamic value. And that, the best part, those are not created by men. So inshallah, you can also be very certain what you are doing there is the right thing that can bring fair and just, because Islam is rahmatan lil alamin. See, no problem about improving society welfare or whatnot, because we are following Islamic values. So this is how sustainable business strategy must look like, all right, to have a positive impact to the environment, society, and both, while also benefiting shareholders, right? No issue in profit making, because we need to be rich to give zakat so that the other can also becoming richer like you, all right? And then this is where we talk about victory, all right? Victory, al-falah, is more than just victory as the term being defined by the dictionary. Al-falah is in the world as well as in the hereafter. All right. So this is how we develop a business strategy that aligns with the Islamic values of sustainability, positively give an impact, having financial return, organization commitment to positive impacting the society, and then organization effect on the environment. In other words, this is what we call as triple bottom line, and must be done within Tawhidic understanding, maqasid of Sharia, and fiqh ruling, in a way we fulfill the Islamic criteria of the right aqidah, ibadah, and akhlaq, as what Rasulullah shown us. All right. So to talk about the how it can be aligned as well to this conventional perspective of creating shared value and conscious capitalism, it comes from how you create your strategy. In terms of you producing, you must do ethical production. Whatever you are to produce, halal and tayyib, and then to meet ethical consumption. This is where it's like chicken and egg, all right? For the consumer to go for ethical consumption, it will influence ethical production, or ethical production to influence ethical consumption. But as I mentioned, we've been born as Khalifah. Don't wait for others. You are the one that to start it. Ethical production so that it can lead ethical consumption. How you can do that? When you create a product, the product must be part of how it's supposed to help you to do ibadah activity. And then in marketing, we talk about promotion. So in your promotion, you talk about how this ethical consumption is part of duty, of Muslim duty. Or you talk about how ethical, because your target audience may not just be Muslim, non-Muslim as well. So ethical consumption is about how you can tackle the issue of global warming. So in a way, this is how you can promote, you bring sustainability in a gradual process. And then you try to maximize your profit because you want to do equitable wealth distribution through zakat, through wakaf, and through infaq. And then principle of conservation. So that's how we can develop a business strategy that aligns to Islamic values of sustainability. All right. And then moving to the next step. All right. Before every company can talk about sustainability, first of all, they need to understand what is corporate social responsibility, because corporate social responsibility is actually the starting stage for an organization to go for sustainability. So how to make this CSR as part of daily conduct? All right. So this is just a recap, all right, from what you have learned in previous lecture from my other colleagues. All right, they talk about CSR, sustainability, and responsible consumerism in Islam. All right, where it is going to be meeting somewhere in the middle with our activity of corporate governance is that for an organization to talk about CSR, corporate social responsibility, they need to have the ability to go beyond what is just about obeying to the law. You must allow yourself to understand social responsibility is about to do the right thing. And the right thing must be able to bring what we call as fair and just. So this is where you need to agree. You cannot run from economic responsibility, legal responsibility. ethical responsibility, but you are at the low level where you are doing the right thing because this is just the right thing that can bring what we call it social well-being, not just to the people, but to the environment as well. And we talk about from how it begins just as obligation, it need to be transformed into amanah, mas'uliyah to amanah. All right, from social obligation to social responsibility. So this is how we integrate CSR into sustainability so that it become a good corporate governance to our organization. All right, that the corporate governance embrace the element of tauhid, maqasid, syariah, and fi'lin, because as how I explain it, all the Islamic values can only be done if you bring in this three concept of Islam, the tawhidic, maqasid of Sharia, and fiqh rulings. This is how we talk about how it becomes so relevant to the reality, suitable and whatnot, doable in other words, because every goals in it to be very doable, all right, realistic. Okay, so having this component, you try to
Doctor?
look. Yes.
Yes, we have
Oh,
maybe
okay. 5
14.
minutes. Okay, let me just recap. All right. So this is how, at the end of the day, translated as a good governance. Whatever you are doing, your organization will become accountable. You understand your importance to the society, participatory, every one of you, because it's not just about the leader, it's about you. Consensus, and then abide to rules, effective and efficient, equitable, responsive, transparent. All right. And this is how eventually the good corporate governance, we embrace the element of this tawhidic understanding. It will help you to get to this ethical production, to meet ethical consumption, equitable wealth distribution, and so on. And is there any tools to measure impact of sustainability in business? Obviously, there is yes. All right. So the corporate governance is actually answered by where you are making a shura. Everything needs to be transparent and responsible and accountable and effective. All right, within the context of Islamic world culture. So these are the measurement without you realizing it. All right. When the world talk about SDG 1, no poverty, meaning that how you measure it, you need to look at how much you contribute in terms of zakat, in terms of sadaqah, and then zero hunger. Your food must be your whatever you are producing there as food must be permissible and pure for the sake of to fill up the hunger, not to make profit. All right, decent and work growth. Look at ethical financial trade. Nowadays we have so many tools that can eliminate the element of riba. All right, and so on and so forth. All right, so these are the things that without you realizing it, Islamic framework for sustainable development is very clear, coded in accordance to Quran and Hadith. And this is where eventually we are talking about al-falah. And there you go, our business strategy is in accordance to Islamic values. All right, Alhamdulillah, on time.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Doctor.
All right.
So we can see from chat box first there is question or not. I think no question in the chat box. So to a participant, if you have direct question, we can open one or two question only. That better be doctor. Mostly they have take some minute to write.
Whether they have no questions because they can understand me, or am I that bad? Okay, I have one hand.
It's very clear, doctor. It's very clear, easy to
Uh,
understand.
I see
Alhamdulillah.
one
Thank you
hand.
very much.
I see one hand is up, and I cannot see who's that. Okay. Yes.
Okay.
The one that raised your hand. What's the question? You need to ask me in the
You
I understand. I'm not good in Arabic, very basic Arabic.
uh,
Qalilan.
yeah, Arif, let me unmute first. Yes, brother, you can unmute yourself.
Yes,
Yeah,
Afrad Arifin, you can ask question now.
yeah. Thank you, Dr. Nur Karimah, for your
Kamariah.
lovely presentation.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Um, yeah, Alhamdulillah. I'm Afred Arifin from Indonesia.
Yes.
What I want to ask is, about Tawhidic science related to Islamic corporate governance. Even though you are also connect the concept or construct into the corporate social responsibility. Yeah, that is what I understand regarding the last presentation.
Mm-mm.
Uh, Please elaborate. Actually, I already have asked this to Prof. Suhaimi on 2 or 3 weeks before, yeah.
Mm-mm.
Uh, is Tauhidic science consists of Syariah, ibadah, uh, ibadah and akhlak and taqwa or akidah, ya. Yeah, please elaborate. Why there is no Syariah, ya? Is it because
Okay.
Syariah is included in ibadah or yeah, please explain, doctor. Thank you.
Is this the one that you're asking
Yeah,
this
yeah.
here?
Yeah, this is akidah.
Okay.
We usually use it akidah, syariah, and akhlak. But in this framework, there is ibadah, not syariah. Yeah, please,
Uh,
doctor. Thank
okay.
you.
I may not be able to answer as effective as Prof. Suhaimi because he's the one when it comes to the research on Taoidic science. But
Yeah.
as one that to apply it, I understand that, oh, my timer. Okay, I understand that. All right. When it comes to us, all right, we have to guide ourselves within the three concepts of Islam, no doubt. The Tawheed,
Hmm.
the Maqasid of Sharia, and the fiqh ruling. So where you are
Baik.
asking about the Sharia is within the explanation of Maqasid of Sharia. So our
Hmm.
actions at the end of the day will be seen as adab and akhlaq. See or not, as Rasulullah, whatever he's doing, what we see from him is adab and akhlaq, right? Aqidah is coming from your stronghold of Tawheed.
Yeah.
Adab and akhlaq is actually the actions that being produced from your understanding about Tawheed, Maqasid, Sharia, and fiqh rulings. So from this picture here, your quality as a Muslim is actually translated from your actions at the end of the day. So actions here, ibadah,
Hmm.
by default, it's already encapsulating your understanding about maqasid of Sharia or Sharia law after you have screen it to become within how we try to apply it as explained through maqasid of Sharia. Your ibadah, your activity, your actions will be seen. So that's why they don't expand it into where is apa namanya syariah law, maka they make it as ibadah. And your quality as your akhlak is going to be very much aligned to what being expected as servant of Allah. As servant of Allah, can you do
Hmm.
whatever you want to do as you wish without considering you are being confined by Sharia law? No, we cannot, right? Because we are just a servant. Yes, boss, Allah is the boss. We cannot do much. Even when it comes to, waking up, if Allah don't allow us to wake up, we cannot do it. So Sharia is there by default if you believe
Hmm.
yourself as servant of Allah. But we don't talk that much about Sharia to elaborate who you are because why? Let me ask you something. How would you see Sharia? How would you see law as human? I'm not talking about you as someone that is very good, verified. I'm talking about as a person. When you see law, like you're from Indonesia, right?
Yeah.
In we've seen in the news, those who are supposed to enforce law, they are breaking the law. The police, no? What
Yeah.
happened there? So
Qadarullah.
if you talk about too much of law, you will be similar like those people. We don't want to bet. We are not the people who are just to see life as law. We see life as ibadah. So that's why
Hmm.
we uphold it into the context of ibadah more. It is embedded there. All right, because
Yeah.
law is just to guide our muamalah, our activity, day-to-day kind of thing. That translated as our ibadah, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how we don't bring it out. But we understand. the Islam must be from these three areas: Tawheed, Maqasid of Sharia, fiqh rulings. This is by default kind of thing. I hope I am answering the right one. Haza min fadli Rabbi. La hawla wa la quwwata illa billahil aliyyil azim. Let's keep on do this discussion, this course. Oh,
Thank
see,
you very
and
much.
at the
thank
chat
you very
box.
much, Doctor.
You
Yeah,
can
and
read
Prof.
at the chat
Suhaimi
box as
already had some answer. Yeah, thank
Ibada
you.
is the one.
Jazakallah. Jazakillah khairan.
Alhamdulillah. Okay, anything else? Thank you, Prof. Soimi. Syariah includes siyasah, syiah, muamalat, jinayah, ijtimaiyah. Law require conviction. So that's why we talk about the translation of our understanding. It's not enough just to talk about law without understanding it. That's why ibadah is the one that translates it. Okay? Any question? Very good question. I love you. I am learning from your question as well.
Thank you very much, Doctor, for your insightful sharing today and clear explanation, mashallah. Hope all the participants can benefit from you from the early morning today until 11. Mashallah, exactly 11. Mashallah. Thank you very much, Doctor. So we don't have time break now. Inshallah, we continue with the third session today,
Okay,
mashallah.
alhamdulillah. Jazakallah khairan kasirah.
May Allah bless you, Doctor. Grant you the
Amin.
Jannatul Firdaus.
Amin. Okay.
Inshallah, next.
Can I leave the session? I stop the sharing, right? I stop the sharing.
Yes, Doctor.
Okay, very much. Thank you, thank you.
Okay, for next session, inshallah, we will meet with Dr. Tahir Jan. Dr. Tahir Jan, are you here?
Yes, Assalamu alaikum everyone. I'm here.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Doctor. Doctor,
Yes.
before that, can you press the screen first?
Yes. Okay.
Doctor, the screen is very small.
It's okay. I'll make it big, don't worry. How does it look now?
The screen become two, Doctor. Your pictures video here, it's two. So can make it once only in the screen?
Okay, give me 1 second. Is it okay now?
Yes, Doctor. Alhamdulillah.
Okay.
Now already full screen. Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much, Doctor. So, without further, inshallah, we will listen from Associate Professor Dr. Muhammad Tahir Jan regarding fundamental of marketing from Islamic perspective, product decision from an Islamic perspective. Without further ado, Doctor, you have 45 minutes and leave 5 minutes for
Okay.
Q&A, Doctor. فليتفضل
Okay.
مأجورا.
Thank you, sister, for the introduction. And Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Assalamu alaikum to all of you once again. I hope that all of you are doing well and are learning and have enjoyed the morning session. I've had with you, I think, 2 sessions earlier as well, and we discussed something that I'm going to connect it with our today's topic. Well, all the topics are more or less connected, but specifically when it comes to marketing topics, I normally design the topics. If it is only my lectures, then I normally have a plan for the flow of the lectures from one session to another session. But nevertheless, let's try to connect this topic, our today's topic, with what we have discussed so far, what I have discussed with you so far. The first thing I discussed with you, if you remember or recall, was in our first session where we discussed about consumer behavior. And we discussed that consumers behave significantly different. Then the next thing in the next session we discussed, which was last week, we discussed that since consumers behave differently, we need to group them together. And we called that topic segmentation topic, where we group consumers based on their similarity, based on the homogeneity. In that topic or in that session, we touched on four important things, just to give you a quick recall. The first thing that we discussed was segmentation. Then we discussed targeting. Then we discussed differentiation. And then we discussed positioning. Segmentation was to group people, the bigger market, into groups of customers. And if you remember, I called them baskets of people based on similarity. And then out of those baskets, you choose the basket or choose the segment that is more appropriate for you and your company, for your business. And we call it targeting. Now, when you choose a market, there is a high possibility that there may be other people, other businesses selling the same product. Pay attention to the word I'm repeatedly using, product. Okay, that's our topic for today. So there will be more people, or there may be more people who, maybe more businesses who are selling the same product that you are selling. That's why we need to do something with the product, that our product looked distinct, our product looks different, and that process in marketing is called differentiation. That is the thing that we discussed in the last session. Then a time may come, or there may be a situation where you cannot differentiate the product a lot, or you cannot differentiate the product at all. So you move to the next strategy where you change the perception of people towards your product, where you change the way people think about your product, where you change the image of your product in the minds of customers. See, in the whole paragraph that I just read to you, I'm using the word product repeatedly. So you change the image of your product in the minds of customers. Why do we do that? Because we cannot differentiate anymore, or we don't have the capability to differentiate anymore. So we make the people think differently about our product. And in the last session, I gave you many examples. Those of you who missed it, or those of you who don't remember, you can refer to the YouTube channel and you will find that video, that session recorded as well. Or you can refer to my personal platform and you will find many videos on that topic. Today, I'm going to touch on another very, very important topic. And if you have studied marketing, or if you're a marketing graduate, or if you're a marketing student and you don't know about these four things, you have somehow not studied marketing. And these four things are called the four P's of marketing. Please note it down with you, those of you who are new to marketing, that something that you must know being a marketing graduate, being a marketing student, being a marketing educated person, is that you need to know the four key ingredients in marketing, and they're called the four P's of marketing. If you recall back the definition of marketing, which I touched on in my first session, you may remember that in that definition, in the longer definition, there is also the four P's of marketing. What are the four P's of marketing? Product, which is our topic for today. Then we have pricing. Then we have promotion. And then we have placing. It can be in any order, but normally it is product, price, promotion, place. Product is the first P of marketing that we will touch on. I have the slides were given to me by Prof Haq, but I've tweeted it, corrected it here and there, and let's see how much time do we have to cover as much as we can, inshallah, in the limited time given to me. When product P of marketing is not only product P of marketing, all P's of marketing are so broad and detailed that actually if you go deep in degree or higher degrees, you will find subjects on these topics. So like you'll find a subject by the name of product separately. So you study that for the whole semester, study that for the whole program. That's why covering it in 30-40 minutes would not be enough, but I'm going to touch on the basics. At least you will have some knowledge before you go, and in this session you will have some information and some knowledge about this P of marketing. My plan is to cover it first, touch it from a conventional perspective, and then inshallah, if the time allows, we'll touch it on from Islamic perspective as well. Product P of marketing. I'm repeating again, it's very important P of marketing because all the businesses revolve around this P of marketing. In fact, out of the 4 P's of marketing, if you don't have the first P, which is the product P, which we are discussing today, the other P's will not make any sense because you make the other P, promotion. You make the promotion, you price something, and that something is the first P, which is product. You place or distribute something, which is that something is the first P of marketing, and that is product. So you can see the significance of this P of marketing, this important ingredient of marketing in the rest of the P's of marketing. So everything in the business revolve around this P, and selecting the right product, thinking about the right product, designing a right product, naming the right product, launching the right product is something that will make or break your business. So make sure that you put a lot of homework, you do a lot of homework and put a lot of efforts when it comes to deciding what product should I launch, what product should I sell in my business. And when we being Muslims, or we operating in Islamic countries, we have to understand the Islamic perspective of the product as well, because it could be purely conventional. Well, purely conventional is not un-Islamic, but purely conventional may have some type of products which are not allowed Islamically, and that is what we are going to touch on in a while. So the plan is to discuss with you the definition of product, not only from Islamic perspective. I added the conventional perspective as well, because that is also very important for you to know before we discuss how that conventional perspective can be looked into from an Islamic lens. Then the types of products, the different types of products, both that we have from Islamic and non-Islamic or conventional perspective. It's not non-Islamic, but it is a conventional perspective. Then the product decisions and strategies that we have to keep in mind when it comes to product from an Islamic perspective, and the legal issues of, say, halal and haram. And I just touched on that conventional products may not necessarily mean that they are not Islamic, but there are products, there may be products which are not in the boundaries of halal, and they're not permitted to be sold as products by Muslim businesses or consumed by Muslim consumers. So what is a product? Now, I normally give many definitions of product. This definition of product is from the book of Kotler. But before I give you this definition, I want you to understand an easy definition of product. And what is the easy definition of product? The easy definition of product is anything of value. The word anything is here as well. Okay, let me mark it for you. Product is what? Product is anything of value. This product is anything of value. Now here I did not refer to the rest of the definition. We will discuss that in a while. Product is anything of value. The word value is a very, very important word. Okay, so product is what? Anything of value. So if you give to the market anything of value, either that is tangible or intangible, we'll come to that part in a while, that is considered product in terms of marketing. Now the word value itself is a very, very important and detailed word, and we should touch it slightly, but we cannot go in detail of it. Why it is important for you to understand value is that you have to understand that value is a very subjective term. By subjective term, I mean that the definition of value, the concept of value, the understanding of value is different for different customers, different for different people. For some people, value is something, and for another person, value is something else in the similar product. And I normally give example of bottle of water, for example. In a bottle of water, value for some people is water, but value from some other people may not be water. Can you give me an example? Anybody? Can you think of the bottle of water? What is value in the bottle of water for one group of people, and what is value for group of people in the same bottle of water? Think. Come on. Let's be a little engaging in the chat. I have opened the chat and I want to see you people tell me in a bottle of water, complete bottle of water, what are different perception of value. Very nice. That's very, very correct. That Okay, that's a totally different perspective. Value is money, life saving. Okay, what do you mean by life saving? Plastic, very good. That's very nice. So let's make it simple. Thank you for your feedback. A bottle of water, for some people, value is in water because that is the main purpose that you bought the bottle of water. You're thirsty and you want to quench your thirst. But for some other people, water may not be a product of value for them. What could be a product of value for them? Just like you rightly mentioned in your chat, that it could be this bottle only. It can be a plastic that can be used for recycling purposes. So that is something that you should understand, that when we offer a product, anything of value, a product to the market, we have to understand that for some part of the market, water is of value. For some part of the market, the plastic in the bottle is of the value. The word bottle is metaphorically used for any type of product. So make sure that you understand that what is valuable for my market, and that is the reason that we select a particular segment, which was my last lecture, a particular segment from a lot of segments that we have created, and we target that based on the understanding and the perception of value. So the easy definition of value, if you want to write it down with you, is anything of importance is called value. Whatever is important for the market, that is value. And they say that if you give value to the market will pay any price, which is one of the P's of marketing. Perhaps you will study that in this certification as well, that if you offer something of value to the market will pay any price, any amount of money, any amount of offerings in exchange for your product. So your job being a businessman is that you need to find out that in your product, what can you do that the market look at it as a valuable offering, that the market look at you as something important for them. That's why when I define value normally to my students, I tell them that just understand that value is importance of something. Value is the worth of something. Value is something for which you can sacrifice another thing of value. That's why the more bookish definition of value is what you get for what you sacrifice, what you get in return for what you give. So when we give something, we only give something when we know that the thing that we are receiving is more valuable for me in that particular situation. Otherwise, I will not involve myself in that trade. I will not engage myself in that exchange. Why do we go and do trade? Buy something and sell something. When we buy something and sell something is all the game of value that you should understand. So let's get to the longer definition. For now, you should understand what is value, anything of value. What is product, anything of value. Okay. Now let's look at the more detailed definition. It's a very, very interesting and important definition, and there are a lot of important things that we should touch on. So product is anything that can be offered to a market for, now I want you to understand and note down these terms. Product is anything that is offered to a market for attention, for acquisition, for use, and or consumption. Now, these are very, very important terms that you need to understand. So the easy definition, what is product? Product is anything of value. But anything of value for what purpose? Anything of value that is offered to the market for these four important reasons: attention, acquisition, use, and consumption. Let's split and understand these terms, and then we will look at the definition in totality. So product is something that you offer to the market that grab the attention of people. Why do you think that we see ads on the TV? We hear ads on the radio. We see ads on the in the newspaper as well. When we drive on the highway, we see these big billboards with a lot of products pasted or marketed on those boards. Why do they do that? Because they want to grab our attention, and that is the definition of product. What is product? Anything that attract us, anything that grab our attention. So anything that you offer to the market, the first criteria that you have to look into is that make sure that it is attention grabbing. Make sure that it is attractive. That's why we have one model. It is a model which focus on attracting the attention of people. So that's why the word attraction is also used by a lot of people when they define product, that anything that attracts the attention of people. So it should attract the attention of people. For what purpose? Just to look at it? No, because the business will not proceed, the business will not survive if your product is just attractive, if your product is just attention grabbing, because that will not take you anywhere in your business. If you want your business to flourish, it should go to the next level as well, and that's why it is in proper order, and you should remember it in proper order as well. So the first one is attention, then is acquisition, then is use and consumption together, and it can be separated as well. We'll touch on it in a while. So first, you offer to the market something that grab the attention of people. And why the attention of people should be grabbed? Why should you attract people towards something that you're offering? Because you want them to acquire it. You want them to buy it. You want to give it away to them. And why would you give it away to them? Back to the definition of value. You give it away to them because you want to have something of value from the market, being a business. What is something of value for you being a business that you want to get from the market? It can be in the form of finances, it can be in the form of money, or anything if it is a barter, for example. So the trade is the process of acquisition. One person, one business gets something, one entity gets something in the form of customers, another entity give away something for something of value. So the first important thing, product is anything that grab the attention of people for the purpose of them acquiring it. By them I mean the market, for them acquiring it. And why do we acquire a product? Why do we, in simple words, buy a product? What do you think? Why do we buy a product? We buy a product for using it. We buy the product for consuming it. Now the word use or consume, now there are many people who have added more things to it as well. For example, some scholars have added things in these attention, acquisition, use, or consumption. They say that first you are attracted towards the product, and that will I want you to refer to my consumer behavior model that I have slightly touched on in my last sessions, is that once you grab the attention of the people, once you attract the people towards your product, they do not directly acquire it, they purchase it. And the purchase process should be understood as well, either from conventional or Islamic or both perspectives. So the product is something that attract you, that grab your attention, then you go and purchase it. When you involved in the process of purchasing, then you acquire the product. The acquisition itself is the transfer of ownership of product. And then once you acquire a product, then you use or consume a product. Now when we say use or consume a product, it can be many explanation to that as well. A lot of the time we are the buyers of the product, and I explained it in consumer and customer in my last session. A lot of the time we are the buyers of the products, we are customers of the product, but we are not consumers of the product. So you have acquired the product, you have purchased the product, but you are not the user of the product, you gifted it to someone. So in that case, a product has grabbed your attention, you have purchased or acquired it, but you are not involved in these two activities. So you have not used or consumed the product. You gave it away to someone, you gift it to someone, and the other person has used or consumed the product. And why do we do that? We do that in order to satisfy our need and want. Need and want separately could be discussed, but looking at the time limitation, I will not go in detail of that. One is something basic, one is something compulsory, another one is not compulsory, another one is just a desire, another one is just a superlative degree of need or a higher degree of need, which need not to be satisfied if you don't want to satisfy it. So that was a longer definition of product. Anything that is offered to the market for acquisition, purchase and acquisition, purchase and attention, acquisition, use and consumption of the product. And in the consumer behavior definition, I also added one more term, if you remember. And what was that term? I remember that I added a term called disposing of. So product is something that you dispose it off to. Now, product, a term, is a broad term. It is a broad term in a sense that there are normally different school of thoughts that explain the term product. They define the term product. Some scholars say that product is a broader term and it covers so many things. So product is an umbrella term, product is a bigger term, and that covers tangible and intangible. So I'll just try to divide the two school of thoughts. The first school of thought say that product, I'll try it here for you people, product is something that includes both tangible and intangible. Yeah, and that's why you can see on the slide intangible, the service. Yeah, that's why it is intangible. The other group of scholars says that actually product, when it comes to the tangible part, we call it goods. And when it comes to the intangible part, we call it service. Some other people say that actually the product is tangible. They say the product itself is tangible and the services are intangible. Both have their own explanation and both could be correct in some situations. That is just for your understanding. The product is a broader term. It includes so many things. It includes tangible and intangible. Some other groups of scholars say that product is the tangible and service is the intangible part. Let's discuss it generally. So if you take product as a broader term, there are many other things in the definition of product. For example, individuals can be considered as product as well. Organizations can be considered as products as well. Events or causes can be considered as product as well. But you see that a lot of these things, services can be considered as product as well, and a lot of these things are not tangible things. But if you go to the other school of thought and you take the product definition strictly as only tangible, then only the tangible parts or only the tangible things could be considered as products, and anything intangible will go in the category of services. So it is tangible product and services are intangible. Services are activities, they are intangible. You cannot see them, you cannot store them, you cannot, they have a quick expiry date, and there is a topic by the name of the characteristics of services, which covers the 4 important characteristics of services. If we have time, we will discuss that, but not now. Okay, so that was just touching on the definition of product. Then another very important thing that I want you to know, that product, when you're offering to the market, you're not offering just a bottle of water. You're offering so many things that accompanies that bottle of water. And that is what this model or this diagram represents. I'm repeating, product is such an important and broad term that when you offer it to the market, you're not offering just that particular thing. You're offering a lot of other things that revolve around the main product. And that's why the 2 main things that you should understand is that first is that you're offering the core value, that what exactly is the product purchased for. In the bottle of water, that core value for a lot of customers would be water. That if I buy a bottle of water, being a customer, I buy it for a core value, and that value is the is the water inside the bottle. But the product comes with so many other things. This bottle of water is only one of the hundreds and thousands of bottle of water that I see in the shopping mall. So when I go to a store, when I go to a shopping mall and I'm thirsty, I want to buy a bottle of water, I see the core water in so many different packages. I see it in so many different names. I see it in so many different sizes. I see it in so many different qualities. In fact, there are some bottle of water that will cost you 50 cents, whereas there are other bottle of water, same bottle of water, which will cost you 10 ringgits, or which will cost you $10. $10 is too much, but like which will cost you 10 ringgits or a bigger amount. Why? Because they claim that it is a different quality of core product that is offered. You go and buy a product, say you buy a phone, you buy a phone with certain brand name, and you see that the feature, the core is the same, making calls, receiving and sending messages. But for one phone, you pay 1,000 ringgits. For another phone, you pay 5,000 ringgits. Why? Because there are other things attached or that comes with the product that we need to understand. And the first one is called actual benefits that are accompanied with the product, and then augmented. Augmented in some books is also called supplementary. Products or supplementary ingredients along with the product. Let's look at the actual product. A product, when we buy anything of value, now that the market is such advanced that we are offered the same product by so many different people, by so many different businesses. And when we go to buy a single product, it can be any product like a bottle of water or a pen or a phone or any product that comes in your mind. It is offered by so many other competing companies. Which one will you buy depends on each person's own understanding and preferences. But a product comes with something which is called the brand name. A lot of us buy a product, we do not pay for the core, we pay for the brand name. Take an example of a very famous example that is quoted in the books, that if you go and buy a wristwatch, what is the main core function of a wristwatch? Showing you time. But one wristwatch will cost you $100, but there are wristwatches that can cost you thousands and hundreds and thousands of dollars. For example, Rolex. What is the main benefit of Rolex? It shows you time, just like any other watch, any other $1 or $2 or $10 watch or $100 watch, but you pay $10,000 for it. You pay $20,000 for it. Why? Because of the brand name. So the product, as I told you, that when we have a lot of offers, you have to make yourself appealing to the market. And how can you grab the attention? When you establish yourself, when you establish your name. And that's why people are willing to pay thousands of dollars for that simple same main feature product, a watch which shows you time, but you pay much more than that because of the brand name. Then there are features that come with the product. A lot of the time we buy the core product as the same product, but it has features. For example, you buy a phone which has the same core function of making calls and receiving messages, but you pay more for one phone, not only because of the brand name, because it has more features. For example, it has a Bluetooth. For example, it has bigger sensor cameras. For example, it has bigger battery life. For example, it has bigger space or storage. So because of the features, you pay more. Because of the features, you distinct your product than the rest of the products. I'm a little fast intentionally because I don't have much time when it comes to explaining the lectures, and I have a lot of interesting lectures, interesting topics for you. Then we pay for the design as well. A lot of people prefer to have one design or another design, and then that is a part of the product as well. Then the packaging, you see that companies are paying a lot of focus. Companies are putting a lot of attention when it comes to packaging, the outlook of the product, the container in which the product is offered for sale is called packaging. And that container container can itself serve a lot of benefits. It can be a protection for the main core product. It can be a marketing tool for a company. It can be something that attracts the customers to buy. And there are companies specifically dedicated to innovating and improving the packaging of the products. I remember many years ago, 10 years ago, when I bought my first laptop, it came in a huge box that had so many things. And down the line now, 10 years or 15 years from that time, if I recently bought a laptop, and it came with a very handy small bag, a small package. The package size has reduced, it has been it is improved, and so on and so forth. Then the quality level as well, and of course there is more to the quality, but just to briefly explain it to you, is that how excellent the product is, how superior the product is, how good the product is in terms of its core function. Based on the quality levels, we choose the product. Those of you who are living in Malaysia, I will give an example to them, is that if you go around to eat out in different restaurants, you may have noticed that behind they have pasted this ABC, which shows the level of quality of those restaurants in terms of the food that they prepare and offer. And based on those quality, the customer perceives the product differently. If you go to a C-class restaurant and they charge you $100 for a chicken piece, for example, or for a sandwich, you would be reluctant to pay that. But if you go to an A-star restaurant, and in some countries we call it a Michelin star restaurant, for the same sandwich they can charge you $1,000 and you'd be willing to pay. Why? Because the quality term is associated with that. So if you make sure that the customer agree to your definition of your product quality, superiority of your product, you can charge them any money and they would be able to pay you. Then the supplementary things that comes with the products are also important nowadays. It has been important before as well, but now it is more important, is that what are the other things that comes with the product which do not become a main part of the product, which if they are not there will not damage the core product, which if they are not there will not have any impact on my own level of satisfaction when it comes to using that product. But these features, these augmented features, or these augmented products, or these supplementary products are important for you being a customer to decide to go for one producer or another producer if everything else is the same. And these are called the after sale services, for example. These are called the warranty and guarantee. Guarantee is not here, it is also very important. The warranty and guarantee, it includes product support, which is also after sales service, and then the delivery, again after sales services, and the credit and debit options available to you. These things may not look very important, but a lot of the times they are the decisive factor for the customers to buy or not to buy your product. I'll give you my own example quickly. I went to a hypothetical example, and it is true in so many situations as well. I went to buy a bottle of water. I picked up a bottle of water, which means that out of a lot of options, I have selected this bottle. This brand impressed me. This brand is the one that I'm happy with. So hundreds of options are there, but I selected this bottle of water. Pay attention, very important example. So I have selected this bottle of water, and now I'm explaining this augmented part. Okay, I'm explaining the supplementary part of the product, how important it could be in some situations. So I selected this bottle of water and I went to the cash out counter to pay for this bottle of water. I took out a ringgit, I took out $1 to give it to the cash out to the checkout counter, and they told me, sorry, we do not accept cash. Pay attention. Sorry, we do not accept cash. Can you transfer to our bank, or can you use your debit or credit card? I checked and I don't have any debit or credit card. I don't have my phone with you. I have only cash. I went for a jog and I only carry cash with me. In that instance, did I buy the product that I selected and I loved? No, I will say, sorry, I have only cash. Can I give you cash? And the shopkeeper declined that, sorry, because of our policies. That is just a loosely hypothetical example, that because of our policies, we do not accept cash. You see, the core was acceptable to me, the actual product and the brand name and everything and the quality was acceptable to me, but because of the supplementary, because of the augmented circle of this diagram, I, being a customer, did not end up buying a product. Make sure that you work on that as well. Okay, now quickly, we already discussed that that the product for now until now we have just generally discussed the product. You understand that product is a bigger term, I told you, and the product can be broadly divided into two types of products. We have consumer products and we have industrial products. Consumer product, industrial products. Industrial products in some books are also called business products, organizational products. So the word business products and organizational products are also used in some books. The simple explanation or understanding of consumer products is that the products that you buy for personal use or for family use. Being a consumer, when you buy a product for personal use or family use, it makes it a consumer product. The other one, which is industrial product or business product or organizational products, are those products that you do not buy for personal use. Rather, you buy it for conducting a business. You buy it to make money. So the key difference that you need to understand is that a consumer product is a product that you purchase for personal use or family use. A business product or industrial product or consumer product is a organizational product is a product that you buy for making money. Normally, the broad explanation of that I can give it to you for now to understand it, even though there are differences in it, and I would again refer you to my either YouTube channel or my personal platform, where you'll find a mini course specifically on the product P of marketing. I have courses on each P of marketing, even though I call them mini courses, but it will cover everything that you want to know when it comes to product. So there are more explanation to the different types of consumer and industrial product, but for now, for the sake of understanding in this basic level, is that when you buy a bottle of water, and you buy this bottle of water because you're thirsty, you being a consumer, you are thirsty and you open that bottle of water and you consume it and you drink it. That bottle of water, which is a product, becomes a consumer product. But if you buy a bottle of water and you do not open it and you take it and you sell it further to make money, that bottle of water becomes a business product. You see that just because the way that you have used it, the way that the product is processed further down the line of purchase, that makes it either a consumer product or it becomes a business product. So the same bottle of water which I have personally used is a consumer product, but that bottle of water which I put in my store to sell it further becomes a business product. And there are many different types of consumer products and different types of industrial or business or organizational products, which is not the scope of this lecture, but you can go to it and you can Google it and read about it by yourself. You'll find it very interesting because they're further distincted and differentiated it with more technical explanation to that. Islamically, how can we look into product? Well, there are the verses of Holy Quran, and there are many hadiths, and the Prophet ﷺ have mentioned in many different hadiths of the Prophet that product, for example, in this specific instance is quoted the verse of Surah Al-Baqarah is that, O you people, eat of what is on earth lawful and good, and do not follow the footsteps of the evil one, for he is your dire enemy, for he is your biggest enemy. And that's what that reflects that when it comes to taking things from the earth, it reminds me of another type of product which is not even quoted in a lot of books. We just explained the two types, the consumer products and the business products. Some scholars have also mentioned a type of product which is called agricultural product. And agricultural products are referred to those type of products which are the result of land or sea. Now look at it. Eat of what is on earth, lawful and good, and do not follow the footsteps of the evil one. So what type of products could be consumed by a Muslim consumer? Those which are lawful, those which are not the types of products that will lead you to a wrong way, that will make you go to an evil side. And what are they? Let's touch on that in a while. In marketing literature, or even generally in economics, we see the word product is of prime importance. And I explained it in the beginning as well, that when it comes to the piece of marketing, the first P, which is the product P of marketing, is so important that all the other P's revolve around it. And since Islam is the code of life, we have the product explanation as well, and that would be touched in a second. Now, the concept of product from an Islamic perspective, how do we look at it, and what could be the main important key feature or the important key characteristic or trait that we should look into? The first and the most important is that irrespective of the conventional things that I explained, you have to now look at the issues of halal or haram. So even though the product is beneficial, even though the product is of value being a business, even though the product is acceptable to the market, but the product is not halal when it comes to the Islamic teachings, then you being a Muslim business, you being a Muslim consumers cannot involve in the trade, in the exchange of haram or non-acceptable products. It should be halal. And normally the example that I give to my students when I explain the concept of halal and haram is that you are a business operating in a non-Muslim country. Say you're operating in Canada or Australia, a Muslim business, a Muslim business person, and you want to start a business, which means that you want to sell some products, and you want to sell alcohol, you want to sell wine, which is a very profitable business. Can you do that being a Muslim business? Well, because of the halal and haram issues, you being a Muslim and you being a Islamic company or business cannot involve yourself in the sales of wine, for example. Or you are a Muslim and you want to purchase a bottle of wine or a bottle of alcohol. Can you do that? You cannot do that. And then there are many other examples, like, for example, consuming pork, for instance, or going to gambling, for example, and so on and so forth. So even though these businesses may be tempting and profitable for a business, but if you look at it from an Islamic perspective, you cannot involve yourself in that, because there is a clear demarcation and distinction when it comes to halal and haram. And I was listening to one scholar, and it says that when it comes to the gray areas, it's better to stay away from the gray area. So the clear halal and haram is there, but there are a lot of gray areas. Let's not go into the gray areas if you want to become a poised and good Muslim business or a Muslim consumer. Now, we already touched on this one as well, that when it comes to one school of thought, they consider product as a broader term, and that's why they have used the word continuum for it, that the product and service cannot be strictly divided into tangible and intangible. They call it a continuum, and there is actually a diagram of continuum from most intangible to the most intangible products. So there is a most intangible one and the most intangible products in the world, and that continuum has many other types of products, which are hybrid type of products as well. I think I'm running out of the time. Let's have a question or two before I conclude. I have many things.
Yeah,
But
thank you very much, Doctor. Now
yeah.
we open for one or two questions. Let me check in the chat box.
Yes. If there is any question, feel free to ask. Okay. Seems
I
like
think this is from Abdul Qadir.
yes.
He said, to someone, when you is the water itself in the bottle went to another, it might be the plastic, the price, and many other things attached to the bottle. I think it's
Agree.
not
So
the
that is an explanation of what I just asked earlier, and that is the right explanation that well, you could be a bottle, a water in itself. It can be a bottle, it can be a plastic, and so on and so forth. So he explained it correctly. Thank you, Abdul Qadir. Any question? Any feedback? Again, I will
if
leave my
participant with the question have if you want to have a question, you can raise your hand.
yes,
If not,
I've left my personal website on the in the chat, drtarjan.com. You can always go there, and you can find my other platforms like my online school is there, my YouTube channels are there, my Instagram, TikTok, everything is there where I post frequently on different topics of marketing and motivation and so on and so forth. Perhaps you those who are interested would like to follow me and learn something new every day, inshallah.
thank you very much, Doctor, for your
Thank you.
insightful presentation and clear explanation. May Allah grant you, Doctor, inshallah.
Amin, thank you
And
so much for the time and thank you so much for the invitation. I hope that the students who are joining liked it and learned something from it. With that, Assalamu alaikum.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much once again, Doctor. Okay, for next session, Dr. Sara.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah, Doctor. Can you test the screen first?
Okay, just give me a second. Do you see the screen?
Yeah, Doctor. Already see the screen, but can you make
Okay,
it
let me
full
look.
screen?
Yeah, just 1 second. Okay.
Yes, Alhamdulillah, already full screen.
Yeah,
Okay,
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So
Right.
this is the last session. We will hear from Dr. Sarah Siddiq regarding the business analysis and AI in Islamic management, AI application in social impact and Ummah development. Without further ado, Doctor, we are already past 5 minutes. You can add in the end, Doctor, and you
Okay,
should leave 10 minutes for Q&A. فليتفضل مأجورا, Doctor.
thank you. I'm just trying to tackle the camera. I cannot, I think my camera is off. I don't know why. You cannot see me, right?
I can see it, but not now back to the small screen, not full screen, Doctor.
Okay. Okay, no problem. I think we can resume without the camera. Maybe something's wrong here. Because my Okay, let's just not waste more time. So, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. As usual, we start this session, Bismillah, wa salatu wa salamu ala Rasulillah, Sayyidina Muhammad, wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa man wala. In this session, we will talk about the applications of AI in societal impact and Ummah development. So we have already established the foundations of AI and data science and machine learning, all these concepts in previous sessions. Today, we are going to look at real-world applications that are currently transforming the Muslim communities globally. So our agenda for today, or the outline, is going through some of the main applications. Of course, there are many others, but I feel that these are like the most important right now. Then we will discuss the major implementation challenges and conclude with the strategic principles for success. So how can we overcome these challenges? Okay, so starting with the first field, let's start with Islamic education, where we can see the most mature AI applications serving Muslim communities. The Quranic education technology is one of the most used, most popular now. So we see applications such as the one in front of you. It's called Tertil AI. It uses advanced speech recognition. So this is one of the machine learning applications. So it's under the AI. It uses the speech recognition that is specifically trained for Quranic recitation. This specific app, of course, there are many other, but this app is ranked among the first educational apps in countries such as Saudi Arabia and Egypt, which demonstrates that it has significant market acceptance within the Muslim communities. And this signals that there is an actual need for these applications. The app, it also has a real-time tajweed correction capability. So it's not just that it will read for you so that you can repeat, it will correct your recitation, it will correct your tajweed as if you are actually getting this knowledge from an actual scholar. Of course, we will be missing the human interaction, but this type of technology addresses a critical need in the global Muslim communities, where we sometimes, in some communities, we have lack or limited access to qualified Quranic teachers. So this will help those who are having this limited accessibility to actually get a high quality Quranic education using the AI technology. From an Islamic perspective, we can see that this technology will serve one of the most, or the first of maqasid al-sharia, which is hifdud-din, the protection of the religion, because as I mentioned, because in some communities we have limited access to Quranic teachers. Over time, this can be a problem that people will not be getting the right type of education or learning to read the Quran in the correct manner. So this is very important, and we can see how AI is helping in this field. Moving forward to a more advanced application of AI in Islamic education, which is the use of natural language processing. Natural language processing, I'm not sure if we mentioned this in the foundation in the first session. It's one also of the AI and under the machine learning. So this is the technology behind ChatGPT, the large language models, the LLMs, that when you ask them to do something, they respond to you in human language. So the natural language processing, so this is where the natural comes from. It deals with natural language as opposed to the computer or system language. So here we see advanced application using natural language processing, where the research community is actually developing sophisticated question answering systems specifically designed for Islamic content. So what are the question answering systems? So it is as if when you if you have a question, for example, an Islamic question, you want to check about some type of fatwa or how to do a specific Islamic guiding or a ritual or whatever question you have, we usually go to Google. So we Google and we go through some of the websites and to see what is the fatwa that we can go with. Now some people use ChatGPT. So you go to ChatGPT and ask, and hopefully it will give you a correct answer. What these two systems do is that they are designed in a way that is a Q&A. So when you are provided with a question, it is designed to give you a contextually appropriate answer based on the data that it is trained on. Remember when we talked about how the system or whatever AI system we use is as good as the data that it was fed. So these models, these systems are trained on classical Arabic and Islamic texts. So that's why they will give you accurate answers to the questions. And these applications can include automated fatwa assistance, Islamic education support, and scholarly research tools. So we have a personal experience actually in developing one of these systems. So a team of researchers from the university, actually from different universities, from University of Khartoum, from the IIUM. So we are a team of scholars who participated in a shared task to develop one of the question answering systems using large data sets that are rooted in Islamic knowledge. So based on this data, the system was actually able to achieve high accuracy. It was ranked among it was the 10th in general Islamic in inheritance knowledge, and it was the second on general Islamic knowledge. And this is under the third Arabic Natural Language Processing Conference. So this conference is one of the venues that actually promotes the advancement to overcome the challenges coming from the nature of the Arabic language, because most of the AI systems now are very good in understanding and generating English content, but it is still under development to an extent. Of course, it is getting improving over time, but it's still needing a lot of development for understanding and generating the Arabic content. So this conference is one of the venues that actually promotes this kind of research and knowledge. Now, when we look at it's actually an extension, it's not a new topic, the smart masjid features. So now we were just talking about the natural language processing and how it can be used, or just generally AI, how it can be used to answer the questions about Islamic knowledge or fatwa or any other related. So we see initiatives such as those by the Presidency of Religious Affairs of the two holy mosques in Saudi Arabia, where they have introduced AI-powered robots to provide fatwa services. These are robots using natural language processing. So when you speak to them, they understand whatever language you speak. So they are offered in 11 languages. And when you have a question, because sometimes if you are doing Umrah for the first time, or if you are in Hajj and you are not assisted with a campaign, or if you generally have a question, you can just head to any of these robots, which will be like just walking around, roaming the Grand Mosque courtyards, and just ask your question. The thing is that they are programmed so that to maintain clear boundaries. We do not expect a system to answer complex questions, for example. So they are programmed in a way to maintain clear boundaries about their role. So they can answer, they will provide preliminary guidance for common questions. And when they face a question that they are not trained on or they don't have enough data to answer, they will refer this to human scholars. This is important because it will preserve the essential role of Islamic scholarship. So we are not replacing our scholars. We are just helping them by providing these robots or other services that can answer the basic questions. And we still need the scholars to answer the more complicated questions. Another challenge that some Muslims face around the world is the translation of the khutbah or tadhkirah in the masjid. So if a person is attending any kind of prayer or khutbah or tadhkirah in another country or in a masjid that the imam will be speaking in a different language, sometimes it will be difficult for them to be included. They will not understand what the khutbah is about. So here we have an example of an application using AI also, which promotes the masjid inclusivity. What it does is that it will provide real-time khutbah translation. So during Friday prayers, for example, the app can be used to give live translation of the khutbah, and this is also into multiple languages. So this will give a more sense of inclusivity, even if you do not understand the language that the imam or the khatib is speaking with. So you can still understand what it's saying. And this app, it will give also cultural adaptation. So it's not just going to give literal translation, it will provide context-aware translation, meaning that while it will preserve the Islamic concepts and meaning, it will not be translating literally, because we know the different languages have different semantics, and sometimes the literal translation will be off point. So using AI with a huge amount of data with different dialects for different languages, this will be useful for solving a challenge, and it will also support the hearing impaired. So this is another level of inclusivity, because it will allow them to be engaged and understand what is being said in the khutbah, even though they cannot actually listen to what is being said. Okay, so now moving on to another area or domain where AI is improving this area. So we see that Islamic finance is perhaps, I think it's one of the most AI impacted fields. And we see Malaysia here as one of the leaders in this area. So in Malaysia, we have a well-established position in Islamic finance. Its Islamic banking assets actually reaches almost a third of the country's total financing. And of course, it's ranked among the world's largest. I think it is number 6, 7, I'm not sure. You can refer to the report if you are interested in a more accurate answer. So now, with Islamic finance being gaining a lot of traction, you see that it's projected to reach around 179 billion by 2026. Now, nations, including Malaysia, of course, is strategically integrating AI to build on this strength. So how is AI used to enhance Islamic finance? Some of the applications include automated Sharia compliance, which is a process that is traditionally prone to human error. And it can also help in risk management through the data analysis and risk prediction models. Remember when we talked about the types of analytics? We said that we have the descriptive, the diagnostic, and then the predictive. So we can predict the risk and therefore be better able to mitigate or provide solutions for this. This is important because it enables both efficiency and also maintain the ethical principles. So we're not just using the systems without the Islamic root. So again, speaking about the Islamic finance, because as I mentioned, it's one of the hot, if we may say, the hot topics or the most used AI application in. We see another country, which is the United Arab Emirates, that is advancing the field of AI in finance. The Ministry of Finance of UAE has actually won the AI for Good Summit. This was because of their innovative use of AI in the financial sector. So what they did is that they used AI. They had AI-powered systems that are used for real-time fraud detection. So it's the detection will be detected, the fraud will be detected immediately in real time, and also for risk management or risk assessment, as we discussed. So this will strengthen the integrity of the financial system and therefore, of course, empower it. They also implemented a smart budget management system that uses predictive analytics to monitor the economy. And this allows for more proactive and data-driven decisions. So here we see another example of how AI can be a tool for good and contribute to sustainable development by making the government operations more transparent and efficient. And it also highlights how technology can be used to serve the public. So we're talking about the Ummah development and to build a more resilient and transparent system for the future generations. This, of course, aligns with the broader goals of Ummah development, and it promotes good governance and resource management, which are the fundamental principles in Islamic societies. Still speaking about the same topic of Islamic finance, we see a groundbreaking development in Islamic digital finance through a platform that is called Cryptiva, and they have a product that is called Predictiva. So what do they do? This platform is the first cryptocurrency exchange platform that is certified as Sharia compliant. So they represent an advancement in Islamic fintech, financial technology, by addressing the growing Muslim interest in cryptocurrency while maintaining the religious compliance. So what they do is that they allow the Muslims to actually use or engage in cryptocurrency and feeling safe that they are not going to get into any kind of haram transactions, because the platform has strict adherence to Islamic principles. They completely avoid practices prohibited by Islamic law, such as the leverage trading and short selling, which are considered some sort of gharar or excessive uncertainty. And of course, also avoid all the interest-based transactions, which is riba. Of course, all of these transactions from an Islamic perspective, they are haram. So when you try, because now globally there is an interest, there is a market growth for cryptocurrency, but for Muslims, we kind of take it with caution because we're not sure what we can get into or not. So such platforms that also uses AI to make the predictions, to filter out the non-compliant transactions, this will allow the market growth potential which is combined again with the Sharia compliance. And this will open new opportunities for the global Muslim population's investments participation. So now those who are interested can actually participate. This is the first, but I'm sure it's not going to be the last platform that is completely Sharia compliant. So this opens the doors for even more investment and more participation in this field. Now moving to another kind of related topic, which is the zakat and waqf management. So we see that there is a revolutionary transformation in the zakat and waqf management through the combination of blockchain transparency and AI optimization. So remember when we talked about how we can use blockchain and AI to improve the supply chain management, because now we have the traceability, we have the transparency, and we can see what is happening exactly. So the same logic applies here. We can use smart contracts to automatically calculate the zakat obligations based on the Islamic rules, and also consider different types of wealth and varying calculation methods based on different madhab. So the AI-powered beneficiary verification can also be used to assess the need and eligibility. So who are the people who are deserving? So the beneficiary verification. And this will maintain the recipient privacy and dignity as well, because it's all based on the data and not human interaction. There's also real-time distribution tracking, which will provide transparency through the blockchain records, and this will show exactly how the funds are allocated. Now we have global platforms such as the Zakat Foundation digital system, which serves over 50 countries. And we also have the Islamic Relief, which processes millions in donations annually through the AI-enhanced systems. For the waqf management, we can see that there is an increasing interest in the field. And a recent summit has actually taken place here in KL, just, I think it was last week, 24, 25. And it was all about the use of AI and modern technology in transforming how the Islamic finance and wealth management is processed. So this shows the growing interest and the direction towards such transformation. And of course, these systems powered by AI and the new technology will allow to monitor the investment portfolios and provide performance analytics for the administrators. So this will be like, it will increase the efficiency and the transparency of the system. The final case that we will discuss today, so we've gone through some of the applications, is about Hajj and Umrah management. Every year, the Hajj pilgrims, the Hajj pilgrim will bring almost over, I don't know, is it 1 million, 2 million, about this huge amount of people, a huge number of people who are heading to Saudi Arabia. And this creates immense logistical challenges. So in response, the Saudi Arabia has turned to AI to manage this massive event. They had a specific hackathon, which is a place where developers or participants will compete to bring their innovation in a certain topic. So they have one of these hackathons dedicated to the improvement of systems or applications to improve the Hajj and Umrah processes. So they administrated large-scale hackathons, and the developers created innovative solutions. So I'll give you some examples. There is the Turjuman app. So this app is using AI to instantly translate the signs and guideboards for the pilgrims. So it works even without internet connection, and it works in different languages. So if you're going and you don't know where to go, and the signs are in Arabic and English, maybe a third language, but that's it. So how would you find your way around? You can use this application. Also, there is another, so AI is also being used for the critical, logistical, and safety purposes. So because of the huge amount, it can be used for crowd management, which will use cameras to analyze the crowd density in a specific location in real time, and then see how this can be optimized, maybe suggest other routes, or even for waste accumulation. So how to speed up the response times for the administrators. There's also the Nusuk application, which streamlines the visa and permit processes. And I believe there will be many other applications. The idea is now we can use AI to manage these massive events that requires a lot of human effort, that previously required a lot of human effort, a lot of systems. So now AI can make this easier and faster, and of course more efficient. So we've seen a number of applications for AI that promotes and advances the Ummah development and have an impact on the society. So what are the major implementation challenges? What are the steps that we need to overcome, or the hurdles that we need to overcome in order to advance this even further? These can be grouped into three main categories: technical challenges, cultural challenges, and Islamic compliance challenges. So let's take a look at the first one. The first one is about the technical challenges. So here we have the data quality as the first. If you remember the session, we talked about fairness. I think it was fairness and bias. The main idea, like the main indicator, if I may say, of the quality of an AI system is the type of data that it uses to build the system. So the data quality represents one of the most fundamental challenges, because AI systems require vast amounts of high quality training data. But when looking at the specific fields, so if we're looking at a specific domain, such as Islamic knowledge or fatwa or any similar type of domain, the digital formats of these authentic Islamic content is still limited. So we need to have a lot of efforts taken in this domain. So what we need to do is to create comprehensive data sets that represents the diversity of Islamic thought, the language variations, cultural contexts, and this requires enormous scholarly and technical coordination. One of the notable examples in this field is done by the Mufassir question answering system. It is similar to the one we talked about at the beginning. So what they did is that they created a Q&A system which outperformed, when tested, it outperformed ChatGPT in providing accurate answers to Islamic questions. So how did they achieve that? They trained the system on high quality Islamic data. And this, of course, requires what we mentioned just now, is that we need to provide this in the digital format. It needs to be built in a way that is, so you need to scan the documents, you need to provide it in an orderly manner, and so on. So it's a lot of effort, but we see a lot of contribution that is being done right now. The second type of technical challenges is scalability. So we can have an application or a system that performs very well when used by a small number of people. But when this increases during peak religious periods, so for example, if we are using this during Ramadan or the Hajj, the system will crash. So it needs to be designed in a way that it can be scalable, that it can accept many applications or users at the same time, and it can perform well. Even systems such as ChatGPT or other LLMs or AI tools, sometimes when you log in and ask a question, you will get an error message or something telling you that, okay, we have reached the capacity, many people are using it right now, and so on. So it's similar to any kind of system that it needs to be designed to be able to maintain its performance when it's used by many other users, which we refer to as the scalability. Moving on to the cultural challenges. Balancing tradition with innovation is something that requires careful change management within the Islamic communities. So we still see some community members who view the technological solutions with suspicion. So they're not really comfortable with the change that is happening. And they think that, okay, you cannot replace for example, scholars with machines. We still need the human touch. And this is, of course, a valid point, and it is important to be considered. The thing is, AI is not here to replace the scholars. It's not here to replace anyone. It's here to assist and improve. So this is how we need to approach AI. Another challenge is the language barrier. Because we have now, as I mentioned before, ChatGPT or AI will perform well in English, sometimes in Arabic, for example, but what about the different dialects? What about different contexts? So we need to develop the system further to support diverse linguistic communities, not just like the main used languages. The final type of challenges is the Islamic compliance. So the most important one here is the authenticity risk, which is maintaining accuracy in Islamic content and interpretation. This is where people actually are worried. How can we use AI to give Islamic guidance, to answer the questions, when we are not sure about the output? So sometimes, even when you're using AI for a simple task, sometimes it gives you false information, it hallucinates, and so on. So how can we rely on it on a sensitive matter, such as giving Islamic guidance or answer fatwas and so on? So what happens is that this is a real challenge, because in order to train the system, we need to simplify the concepts. And if we simplify the concepts, then this can potentially lead to misunderstandings or misrepresentations of the Islamic teaching. So I think it is safe to say that we still need to have a lot of monitoring and real guidance on using it for Islamic purposes, because we're still experimenting with the system. It's not as accurate as it should be, specifically in these sensitive matters. Another challenge is the commercial exploitation. So we do not want anyone who or any company or any entity that develops a system that is supposed to serve the Islamic Ummah to use this for monetization only, and in a way that conflicts with Islamic values. So some developers, of course, it is fair to ask for remuneration for your effort. You do not have to give away for free, but it is just important to avoid the profit-driven development. So it's not just that we're doing this for the profit. The main concern should be the community service and the spiritual authenticity. And the final challenge from the Islamic compliance is the standardization. So we know we have different madhab, we have madahib, and for these, sometimes the answer will be different. So when you design a specific tool or app, it is important that you specify exactly what kind of reference they are using to answer this, because of course, sometimes it's going to be a different answer. And this is important to maintain consistency and to avoid the confusion. So you may give an answer and then confuse the users because they maybe have heard something different in another place. So it's important to show the references, to show based on which madhab this answer is being used. So finally, we are going to give some insights or just strategic principles like to assist in overcoming the Islamic AI application challenges that we discussed. So the first thing will be the authentic integration. By authentic integration, we mean that when we use AI, we use it to enhance rather than to replace the traditional Islamic scholarship. And the successful application will, of course, maintain continuous scholarly oversight and ensure that the technological efficiency does not comprise the religious authenticity. So here the technology must serve spiritual and community development goals, not become an end in itself. The second one is the community-centered development. So what should happen is that the user needs are the driver. We are developing a system because we need it and not the other way around. So it's not that the technological capabilities that determine what we design. So the successful Islamic AI project should involve diverse Muslim communities in the design process. We need input from different stakeholders to know exactly what they need, not just design something because we can or because we have the capability. It is important to be designed for a specific need. And finally, the implementation should be done through an ethical and Islamic ethical framework. And this is the topic of our next session, inshallah. So we'll talk in more detail about it. So what does it look like to have an Islamic ethical governance framework? How can we ensure that maqasid al-sharia and all the Islamic principles are aligned with what we apply? Of course, the ultimate purpose is to maintain the alignment with the Sharia compliance and with all the Islamic principles that we need to abide by. So this brings us to the end of the session. I'm going to end with some remarks about how the AI can enhance the Islamic practices and accessibility while preserving religious authenticity. And when we look at this as a whole, our ultimate vision is technology that strengthens Islamic identity while serving the Ummah. So the applications we've examined today demonstrate that this is possible and it's already happening across multiple sectors and communities. And what we need to do is to maintain the authentic Islamic values while embracing the beneficial technological advancement. So it is kind of a balance. We don't need to completely prevent it because some Some people are very suspicious or very afraid of this technology to the point that they just like prevent it completely or ignore it or just avoid it completely. And the other end of the spectrum is just trusting it 100%. So this is also not the way to approach AI. So we need to approach it with caution. We make use of its benefits, but we also keep in mind that it is still work in process. It is a tool, and it depends on how we use it, because it's eventually just a tool. Okay, and with this, I conclude my session. I hope it brought some insights to, I think we have seen some questions. Can we start answering the questions now?
Yes, thank you very much, Doctor. So we can proceed with the Q&A session.
Okay,
I
so
think
let me
it's
see.
the question from Dr. Muhammad, Brother Muhammad Ahmed.
Okay.
Here in the chat box, Doctor.
Okay. I opened the chat box now. I see the first question. How secure are these AI applications? This is the first one I got. How secure are these AI applications in terms of being hacked and manipulated? Okay, we are finding it. More people are using AI to produce folk videos. What about those AI apps that are interactive in nature? So this is an ongoing concern, because being a system, of course, it is susceptible to being hacked or being fed. So even the design itself, we've talked about this in the previous session, the developer of the system, if they do not have the best interests in mind, they can actually design it in a harmful way, whether intentionally or unintentionally. So we do not say that these systems cannot produce harm. They can, but that's why we say that we should always use them with a grain of salt. So it is important to verify, it is important to double check, and now it's even harder to distinguish between what is real and what is fake. So that's why it's important to go back and check whatever you get from any type of AI system. Okay, can jinn influence the action of AI? Very interesting. If yes, how do one protect AI from jinns entering them? I don't think I can answer this question. I think this question requires a more specialized person. I don't think I have the capacity to answer it, but it is really interesting, and I'm also interested to know the answer. Okay, could you please share your thoughts on the doomsday scenarios arising from AI's solution implementation in various fields? Okay. Maybe in future sessions, as we conclude, I'm going to write this down. Scenarios. But I can refer you to a very interesting book. It's called I don't remember. It's called Muslim Societies in Post-Normal Times. I'm going to write it in the chat box. Muslim Societies in Post-Times. Okay. So this is one of the interesting books that I came across, and I think you will get some of the answers you're looking for, or the scenarios. It actually has an entire section about the scenarios. So enjoy the reading. I'm sure you're going to like it. I'm not sure if it has a soft copy, but maybe I will post the full book information if you want to look it up. Can AI be hacked? If yes, how can it be protected? I'm not sure, but I'm gonna check. Because this is a part of the AI engineering, not the analytics side that I'm in, but AI hacking. But my general understanding is that as long as the system is open, then it can be hacked. But so open meaning that the data it gets it from. So we see that the way ChatGPT is designed is that it's going to learn from what you give it. So and by you I mean all the users. So if users are giving new information, the AI or ChatGPT and other LLMs, large language models, will store this data and use it to train the future answers. But some systems, like for example, the Q&A systems that I mentioned earlier, the data that is used to train the system is not open. So it is based on a specific one. Also, there is the notebook LM. Some of you are familiar with it. It will only give you answers based on what you give it as data. So it's not as open as ChatGPT and others. How can the mentality of potential risk displacement be effectively neutralized and managed from the Islamic perspective? Okay, so this is a question related to change management. And it's not the first time that we see a technology that threatens losing jobs or threatens the job security. We've seen this before. Every time we have a new technology, people are afraid that it's going to affect them. Not just technologies, any kind of efficiency systems or anything, people will be worried that they will be replaced. So it's just about raising awareness. So having sessions, talking to employees, and I've seen some of these around in LinkedIn and so on. So we raise awareness about how AI actually works and how you can use it as an employee to improve your job instead of like replacing you. So there's this saying that goes, an AI system will not replace you, but the person who uses AI can replace you. So it's just a tool. We need to learn how to use it in order to maintain job security, because just like when the computers were first introduced, if you don't know how to use a computer, by now, of course, you wouldn't be attending this session in the first place. So it's just how the world is progressing. AI is here and mostly gonna stay. So people just need to understand how to use it to, as you mentioned, to neutralize and manage from an Islamic perspective. And then we can maybe eliminate the fear. Okay, Abdulaziz, we have all the presentations in the dashboard. Maybe you can communicate with the secretary. They will have the link to all the slides. It's all available. So I have not signed attendance. Okay. Does AI have 100% debatable as in Islam? We have debatable answer, like we check in different school of thoughts. It depends on how you program it. So if the system is programmed to give one answer, like this is my answer, I'm not going to change it, then of course it cannot be done. But even in ChatGPT, if it gives you an answer and then you reply with something like, okay, this is not the correct answer, and so on, it can change. That's the beauty of it being interactive and conversational. So if I understood the question correctly, that it can check from multiple sources. This is actually one of the challenges that we discussed, is that we have different schools of thoughts, and it depends on the data that we give it. then it can give us, for example, different answers. So based on this madhab, this is the answer. Based on this one, this is the answer, and so on. What is your opinion about AI giving fatwa? My personal opinion, I think it's okay as long as the sources are provided so that you can do your homework and double check. I don't think it's very different from, for example, Islam Web or any website that you type in your answer and then you get you type in the question and then you get the answers. As long as you're not asking a person, it's all the same to me. So if AI is giving fatwa, we are not going to take it 100% as accurate. We need to verify, of course. But in simple, as the system develops, in simple fatwa, straightforward, I think it should be fine. But when it's complicated, then we, of course, need to refer to an actual scholar who can contextualize, who can understand the other dimensions. How can we get these books? These books are available by the Department of Business Administration in the IIUM. I think Prof. Suhaimi has shared before how to order the books, but maybe we can get again. How is it weakening of human mental and cognitive capabilities by using such a technology or AI? It is, and also it's not. So some studies have been addressing this, and they see that the capabilities of people can be developed and they can also be deteriorated when using AI. It depends on how you use it. If you use it to do the job for you, then of course you are going to lose your reasoning and critical analysis, critical thinking over time. But if you use it as an assistant and then you have to critically analyze the output and rephrase and iterate, then it's going to be as an assistant to help you think even better. So it depends on the type you use it. Okay, so I think maybe we have more questions. Final question, can you rely 100% on AI? The answer is no, you cannot rely 100% on AI. So this is my straight answer. You always need to check and verify and double check and go to the references and just make sure that it gives you the right answer. So you cannot rely on AI. It's like you type in a question in Google and just take whatever answer it gives you. You're going to get different answers. The difference is that AI will give you the answer with a lot of confidence that this is the right answer. But most of the time, you need to do the check. Okay. Okay, the books. Can we get? Let me stop sharing. Maybe we can provide where to get the books from. Can we get help from an admin?
Yes, Doctor.
Yes.
Alhamdulillah.
So, Alhamdulillah, yes. Some of the participants were asking about the books. Do we have a link to buy the books?
For ebook, because we have some what I call a technical issue now, not yet. About 2-3 months we cannot what I call still in process because there is problem with that. Inshallah, after that we will put it in the group after it's already available. Inshallah.
Okay. So maybe we can have a form, a Google form or something for people who are interested to buy, so that we can have their contact and so on, if possible, just to
Yes,
have an estimation of how many people are interested.
yeah. Let's see. If you mean the Muslim society in post-normal time, right, Doctor? Or
No.
other books?
The Deba books, the
Oh,
ones I'm sharing now. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's book. Also the same like what I said, because the system in our ebook have a little bit problem. After it's saturated, inshallah, we will inform. But the
Okay.
physical of book, essential of management, there is a hard copy. If they need to buy in Malaysia, or shipping, I think a little bit difficult, Doctor, because the price is too high for shipping.
Okay.
But if in Malaysia, we can ship it, inshallah.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification.
Thank you very much, Doctor, once again for
Thank you very
insightful
much.
sharing
Assalamualaikum
information
I see one
today.
hand is one person is raising their hand.
Yeah, okay. Salom, yes. Brother Salom, you can unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself. Brother Salom.
Hello. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi. It was not allowing to unmute. Mine is not a question, it's rather a request to the organizers. I've been following from the very beginning, and I come from Tanzania. We are running what we call a Center for Islamic Finance Compliance and Advice, which we are promoting Islamic finance. And I found this cause very important, along with the other 5. Now this is the 6th one. I was wondering whether I can leave my details. We can discuss further on how we can use these kind of materials to run certificate programs at our local level, let's say at no charges, rather for multiplier effect, because our audience and people, they might have not seen the advertisements for this type of a cause, but at a certain point in time locally, then we can create time. The fact that we already have recorded materials, we can benefit the Ummah from this. So if I can have either the contact from the organizers, or if I can leave mine, so that we can take this further.
Brother, you come from?
I'm from Tanzania.
Okay, I will take that request to the management so that what they can say, inshallah.
Yes. If you can take my email so that I can write back to you and give you the details. salum.lupande@gmail.com.
Okay, thank you very much. You can put your email here. Let's say
Okay.
if whatever
I thought when we close, the chat will go away.
Okay, you put first. I will copy it.
Okay, I'm doing so.
Okay, back to our doctor. Thank you very much, doctors, one again for your sharing today. And now we come to the end of the session today. Alhamdulillah. And also thanks to our participant that stay with us until the end of the class. Thank you very much again for Dr. and all the participants. Inshallah, with that we close our tasbih our class today with tasbih kifarah and surah al-asr. Subhanallah wa bihamdi, subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika, asyhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in.